and welcome. You are watching the Castoffs on Happy Jacks RPG. My name is Jason, the boatswain.
Coxswain?
Boatswain?
Bosun.
Bosun. That's the word I wanted.
One.
Yeah. Who needs scripts?
First try ever.
This is episode 4 of the Castoffs, and you can catch up on previous episodes if you go to happyjacks.org/castoffs or /shows for everything that's ever been done at Happy Jacks. It does not have shows we haven't shot yet, so there is that restriction. You can only watch now or not previous.
Other shows, yes. This show, no.
Right.
This show you can watch in the future.
Well, yeah, but that's a special URL you have to skip ahead.
It's only for the $1,000 Patreons.
$1,000, imagine. So we're playing a game called Quest RPG. It's a sort of homespun fantasy pirates nonsense thing that we're making up as we go. The game system you can find at adventure.game if you're interested. They have a free PDF. You can check it out. And that's all I'm going to say about that for now. Let's introduce ourselves and a little about our characters. And also, tell us about your regular character and the character that you will temporarily be portraying at the top of the show today.
Hello, I am Joe, and I normally play Wall, who is kind of a gruff fighter paladin type on the ship. But tonight, I will also be playing Flaxen, Department of Flag Standards, Director of
The party
Flags.
was born to play.
Yes.
That's lucky he got that job.
Very, very long lineage of Flaxens.
Love it.
How am I supposed to follow that? All right, hi, I'm Courtney. I play Third Defandress, who's just a young, plucky bard trying to find himself and some adventure with his friends. I'll be starting the show as Madame Hermé, the head of RMD, Runic Magic Development.
All right.
Hello, I am Pooja, and as of normally, I play Lucky Joshi, a literal cat person who is also a spy who specializes in violence. But I will be starting the show as Emilia Rator, public-facing standards and relations, including uniform design.
That is the entire name of the department that is on her door?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a very long business card.
Yeah.
What is their last name, or the name?
Rator.
Rator. Okay.
I should probably keep track of all those.
I mean,
So
we
we
need
flag
them
somewhere
for a
somewhere.
very, hopefully, short amount of time.
Challenge accepted.
3 hours later.
Oh, God, please, no.
Hey everyone, I'm Nick, and the character I usually play is Salamander, who is an animated figurehead from the ship of the same name. But today, to begin the show, I'll be playing Marcus Dockswiller, Special Operations.
Can we call it special projects?
Sure.
Okay.
And then redacted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the head of Redacted Department.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Love it. All right. So, I want to give you all just a chance to vamp a little, to find the footing of this character. Take a few minutes. There is a meeting of department heads. The actual CEO and CFO and assistant, they're not here, right? It's the 10 or 12 department heads who are going over budgets, making sure everybody has what they need. And something that is on the docket that is about to come up next is the fact that one of the brand new, amazing, runic enhanced ships was practically wrecked in a failed attempt to retrieve one of the first prototypes of a runic enhanced ship. So the captain of that ship is here today and is going to come into the meeting and answer any questions you might have. I guess I am now playing your executive, the group's executive assistant for the room. But that is what's on your docket. There's, we're sort of entering the scene in media res, and you are talking about whatever it is you need to be talking about. So, what's on your minds?
Flags.
Okay, tell us more about that.
I hear the comments when I pass people in the halls. Nobody thinks of my department as being serious or warranting much funding. But let me ask you this. When people see our ships, they see our flag, what do they think?
I assume they don't know what to think.
Exactly, because we don't have enough flags.
No, because you change them every 6 months.
Until
Why
I
do you
find
do
a
this?
flag that will last and burn into people's memories, I will not stop and I will not yield my time. This is my time to speak. Flags.
Espresso, please.
I think we have a large kind of horseshoe-shaped table. It's like one piece of wood, right? That is roughly horseshoe-shaped. There's maybe a big piece of driftwood that was like, hey, this will fit pretty much all the department chairs. And it's wedged into this sort of rectangular room with a double door at the end.
But it's carved with the runes at the bottom, so it just floats. There's no
Yes,
stands
yes.
for it.
Obviously.
Yeah. It does mean it's a little shifty, like if somebody pounds on the table, for instance,
Yep.
if flag captain is
Flagson?
yeah, flagson.
Flag Flagson.
That would have just been a very different tenor to Randall flag from the stand.
Yeah, very different.
The man in flag.
Yes. Okay, so the assistant is going about, getting drinks and things prepared and sort of walking in the inside of the horseshoe and dropping things off and trying not to bump the table. It is, I think the table is like chained to the floor from underneath, right? Like it has chains from the bottom of it attached to the
So
floor.
it sways a little, but it doesn't
Right.
rock too much.
Not too, like you'd have to really push down hard on it and then let it go.
No, that's to feel authentic, like a ship. That is why I designed it that way. We are a boating company after all.
Then our boats, the ships, says one of the, from accounting.
Played a one shot. We were all Navy. Just the whole game. It's like, so you get on the boat. I'm like, not a boat. Not a boat.
If it
Just give
carries,
me.
if it carries other boats on it, it's a ship. You can't purely tell from the size, but if it has other boats on it, like lifeboats, that is definitely a ship.
So if I get on a boat and I've got toy boats, does that make that boat a ship?
That is not.
I'm in a rowboat with toy
seaworthy-
boats?
That's not a seaworthy
That's
vessel.
a boat.
Okay, so
The cost of your flags is driving the company into the red.
Because we cannot decide and commit to
Oh,
a
we
singular
can decide.
design.
We can
I
decide.
have brought samples.
Of course you have.
by the way, accounting. No one's playing accounting, right? Accounting makes eye contact with you, special projects, and gives you the the highs of like, yes, thank you for that silently like, yeah, special projects is going to be getting extra funding this quarter.
Special Projects knows where our bread is buttered.
Yep. Mr. Flagson, I have your samples here. Is that what this is?
Yes, unfurl them
yeah.
now.
Yes, right away. And the assistant just like, how many are in the box?
Just
sir?"
keep going. Look upon them.
There's at least 8
Look upon them.
little temporary flagpoles.
See how majestic. See how they linger on the backs of your eyeballs. They linger and burn and they leave an imprint. That is the mark we will leave on every single one of our ships, our crew, our packages,
Andy,
our parcels.
Excuse me, if you want our crew to look like they came out of a sewage room from 8 years ago,
Mm. All right, real quick, Joe. Out of character, what is the like color differentiation and design differentiation?
They're all royal blue.
From. Okay, so they're slightly different designs. Slightly
No, they are
different
eight samples
of identical flags.
of an identical flag, but there are 8 samples of them.
Okay, so the assistant.
Chalk and awe.
Why did I have to put up 8 of these? Like sweating, trying to put everything up.
Imagine an armada bearing the same sigil, the same color, the same quality. That represents who we are and what we do and the mark we make on this world.
But our colors are white and purple. You realize this?
That
yes?
was last time. They didn't test well.
Didn't test well.
Yes, I test each and every color when we unfurl them and put them onto our ships. And I look at the reports, and then I determine whether they performed well, and the white and purples did not perform well. We lost every single ship that bore those flags.
And what exactly was the demographics that you were testing?
My ship.
That is not a demographic.
That was 100%.
That's
I
amazing.
mean,
Look, just because he's legacy does not mean that he should be running this.
I
company.
am not legacy. My grandfather was legacy.
this company. I mean, despite the fact that you are obviously colorblind and could not find the sea if someone threw you in it in concrete shoes.
We could make that happen.
Yes, that could be arranged.
Always the joke. Yes,
we will
yes.
have to pull
Mhm.
forward the redesign of crew uniforms in order to finance this full refurling of flags.
Accounting is outright sweating.
Another new uniform to match this, which
I
you don't
mean-
like either.
At least I, amongst all of us, am the profit center. Don't look at me like that. You know that having every single one of the sailors on every single one of our ships buying new uniforms from us every 6 months forms up 37% of your budget.
She does have a point.
Yeah, those numbers check out. Actually, yes.
Madam,
Not to mention the fact that the entire company name has been sullied by the ineptitude of one captain flying and destroying the flags you previously put out.
It is not good for our brand.
That is why we're here today. Shall we call him in?
But to get this one to stop talking about changing the flags, yes, please.
I will never stop talking about the flags.
You know you'll never stop talking about the
I'll
flags.
just
You'll
I'll
always
just collect
stop
these and
talking
pack them up
about
for
the
you.
flags.
No, leave them. Display them proudly.
Let's see. Yes. Obviously, yes, sir. Okay. I'll get the captain.
Anytime.
All right. So the assistant disappears out the door and doesn't reappear, but Captain Gallant strides into the room. Who I think like big John Cena energy, you know.
What's his theme song?
I can't remember if we described him very thoroughly in the
It's Mariner's Revenge.
in the
Yeah.
encounter, but just yeah, just
I don't think we described him.
yeah.
So
Okay,
he's,
big,
he's an
I
open
mean,
bold,
his name is Gallant, so.
yeah, smart as a thumb.
So who's that
Indeed.
guy from Futurama?
Yeah, that captain.
Yes, yeah,
That
Braff.
Brannigan.
Yeah, Zap,
Zap Brannigan
Zap,
or something.
Brannigan,
Zap
something
Brannigan.
like that. Anyway, yeah. So he strides into the room, just filling the space at the open end of the horseshoe. Yes, I'm here to report.
You have a lot of nerve walking in that way.
Was there another entrance I was supposed to use?
Perhaps one of a bit more modesty, considering how you completely fucked up your mission.
With all due respect, I am a hero of our fleet. We faced overwhelming odds. I returned with most of my crew when we were not given proper intel.
So what you're saying is we have that many more people that Marcus is going to have to deal with as soon as this meeting is over.
What exactly would you say was wrong with the intel?
No one told us they had 20 soldiers on that ship. We were not told that they had an escort. We weren't told the amount of magic users on the ship. We were completely underprepared for the level of challenge that was presented.
That would indeed be quite a challenge, although, given your reputation, I would think that you would be suitable to such an opportunity.
No
Yes,
one.
I believe what you said was, I can handle whatever they throw at me. Don't worry, I'll get it done no matter what.
Assuming the given intel is correct.
What was the given intel?
That there were a handful of sailors on this stolen ship that was barely managed, and we knew where it was, and all I needed to do was track it down. I secured a mage. I secured a mercenary force. I tracked them and executed a surprise attack, and yet their forces were 4 times what we were told they would be.
And all of that happened about a day's sail from Port Fiend, yes?
Out of character is about 5 days.
Okay.
Yeah. Or no,
Sorry.
from Port Fiend, it was like 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
All that happened about 2 days out of Port Fiend.
Given a strong wind, yes.
Interesting. I'm curious, what happened to the rest of that escort then?
Well, we destroyed most of them, but they overpowered us. They set fire to our sails. Our ship was almost irreparably damaged. Our mage was killed. It was, most of our mercenary force was overpowered. How could they do any different?
It's interesting that my sources did not report any other ships and counted the complement that left the Salamander.
This is my complaint. Your sources are ineffective and insufficient.
Erme begins drawing something on a piece of paper.
Head of special projects, please roll with advantage your read a person.
17.
Yeah. So it appears Captain Gallant is not doing a whole truth, or even part of a truth.
Erme will rip out this piece of paper. Oh no, I ruined it. Say, why don't you use this, apply it to him to see if he's telling the truth? And it's a rune on a paper that, if touched, will make him tell the truth.
Oh.
I see. Well, I may need to consult my sources, but if you could take a look at this report that they've been giving us.
I don't see any need for that.
Did we call you
Please.
here to ask what you saw the need to be?
You trust my judgment to be out there and do the things that need to be done.
You lost my trust when you failed to return with my flags.
Enough with the flag star.
No. I've had enough of being shushed. Where are my flags? Your ship was outfitted with Rise flags.
We deployed them and they burned.
They
And
burned.
anytime you lie, you will feel a burning sensation.
Okay.
With that rune.
They burned, you say.
What is this?
Just hold on to it.
Attendant, would you so kindly bring a match to my sample? And light it aflame if you could.
Now,
So
you said there were...
Well, so the executive assistant kind of looks at the rest of the table. Half of the department heads are barely paying attention to this conversation. They're, looking at the paperwork, or one's straight up dozing off. So the executive assistant is being asked to set flame to the display flags, and is looking to anybody who will make eye contact with them to get out of this situation.
Who would make eye contact with the assistant?
Oh,
Not
that's
sure.
a good point. Okay.
This is why they will never rise to fix.
All right.
Okay.
So, as a quick recap for listeners who may have missed some of the details here, what happened was Captain Gallant's ship did in fact sneak up on the Salamander. They launched a surprise attack, sort of. They got the initiative. They magically, invaded the ship and fired cannons and did some damage to the ship and definitely had the opening upper hand. But the very small crew of the Salamander, the 4 or 5 of you fit to fight, repelled the boarders, unmagicked their magics, set their ship on fire, and
Wall demanded their flag.
just sort of disabled their
There's some
ship
holes in it.
immediately. Wall did demand their flag, which I think they just threw in the water.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Along with the mage.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's the true story of what we're asking.
Story.
What we're asking Captain Gallant to describe to his superiors. So, the executive assistant is now desperately over here with a candle, trying to set these flags alight. Now, flags, and my understanding is that your flags are actually flame retardant and not. They are both flammable and inflammable.
That's correct.
Yeah. But certainly wouldn't be able to be set fire by a candle.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And Gallant does like gulp, side eyeing the assistant trying to light the flag on fire, and is also like changing hands with the rune. I don't know if the rune is glowing because that would kind of tip him off, right? But is sort of brushing his hand off on his vest. You know, he's like a heavy brocade vest.
Now, you said here that there were 6 ships and 30 crew on board?
No. There was one ship with an escort and 20 soldiers on.
And yet you said a
I-
moment ago that there were 4 times the forces you were expecting?
Yes.
There were multiple, and that there were several ships that you sank?
Well, I don't remember saying that exactly.
Meeting reporter, could you read back the minutes for us?
I recall some things that he said. I just and then he sort of folds this piece of paper and tucks it in his vest pocket, and just puts it there for a moment. There was just the one ship, and by an escort I mean the complement of this great number of soldiers they had on board. We did some damage to their ship.
How many of their soldiers would you say that you took care of during this mission?
Well, we were easily outnumbered 3-1, and we took out 10 or 12, and his pocket catches fire. It just like smokes and like oh shit!
Break the flag around him. Break the flag around him now.
I mean, I think this is a wonderful test of new material.
Mm.
We'll sidebar later.
Yes.
I think because the rune was prepared quickly on a regular piece of paper, the paper also caught fire. But we do have a liar vest on fire situation.
Yes. It's done its job. It's fine.
Well, look, they were better equipped than any of us were led to believe.
Remind me again that you were the captain of the Salamander, right?
Yes, that's why I volunteered for this difficult mission.
So, out of the entirety of Rise, excepting, of course, the RMD department, you should have been the most equipped to understand the capabilities of the ship, to disable it without attempting to destroy it.
And to return with your flags.
Or on them.
All right. I think that is actually a really good place to cut that scene for now. We don't need to know all of what happens to Captain Gallant. We may find out more later. But thank you all for playing with me on that. That was...
I'm just saying that both if the uniforms were flame retardant and we could also use the room to test new materials
Indeed.
for the upcoming set of uniforms, thus raising the sale price of the uniforms by 20 to 25%.
And the price of the sails.
I've also been developing, the floating runes that we use for the ships. If we apply them to the clothing, then when they fall in the water, they will float. Like some kind of jacket of life to keep them afloat. Yes.
And then we also add that to the charge, and then every time they use it, they must replace it. Thus, additional revenue stream.
Marcus Doxwiller gets up and leaves the meeting.
Yeah. All right. We'll do a star wipe out of there. Thank you for that. But for our listeners/viewers, I told them all that like 5 minutes before the show, like, hey, do you guys want to do this dumb thing? And they all jumped in. So like these folks are awesome.
In my head, like the minutes to that meeting, just every time Marcus Doxweiler speaks, it's just
Yeah, just the reporter just gets like a Sharpie and just draws a black line.
Yeah.
Doesn't even write something to redact it, just like draws a black marker on it. Okay, so when we last left you all, you were meeting with the Queen of Death
Yes.
on the island. We named the island.
The Isle of Finn.
No,
I
that's
think
the
that
port.
the port. It's
Port
Port Fiend.
Or
Did name this island? I don't remember.
Maybe we didn't name the island.
No, if we find it, we'll let you know.
Yeah. But the Queen had let you all know that that there is a faction in Spire, possibly spilling over into Creektown, that is creating like a cult-like following. I've also started playing too much Cult of the Lamb.
there's no such thing as too much Cult of the Lamb.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. But there is a cult following around this notion. Somebody has promised mortals a key to eternal life, which is anathema to the Shadowlands or Land of the Dead or whatever that we know. Pooja's character. Lucky. Jeez, brain, come on. I didn't want to look it up. I was like trying to, come on, brain, get it. I could just flip a page here and look, but I'm like, no, brain, come on. We've been doing this for weeks. So Lucky's character, we learned, is an ambassador to the Land of the Dead, is not a dead person herself, but they often are called on to do work in the Land of the Living so that, relations between the two lands go well and things keep working the way they're supposed to work. When people pass on in this world, some of them become ghosts to flit around the living. Some of them just retire to a Shadowlands type location. Some are reincarnated or other stuff, right? There's all kinds of things based on what that person's supposed to do. So that is interrupted if mortals decide they can and should live forever without any sort of, at least like a negotiation with the embassy.
The consulate cannot abide.
Right. And we're also setting up the consulate as basically the rulers of the Land of the Dead. We're calling it the consulate. It's really the palace or whatever, however you want to think about that. But that is roughly where we left off. We were at the Queen's estate which was much more of an estate than like a true palace or castle. Um, green rolling hills, some subdued areas with a cemetery and a mausoleum, and some other places that are just for walking and enjoying the grounds. You all were presented with, her request to have you go to Spire/Creektown and sort of uproot whatever this, however this cult is taking hold, and figure out how to stop that, because that's, from her point of view, unacceptable.
She was about to tell us about the generous rewards that
Yes.
the consulate was going to offer.
Yes. So, as this will most certainly be a difficult undertaking, I would like to open my personal armory for each of you to make a selection of some kind. We have a number of things available to you of various magical properties and equipment. So if there's something in there that you would find helpful, please don't completely raid my stores, but I don't want you to have to go in unequipped. And because the consulate does not deal in coin or cash, this item or object that you choose for yourself will be considered your payment. So also do pick something that you find is appropriate for your compensation.
Are we expecting a lot of violence?
Well, in the past, when groups like this have arisen, they took poorly to being told they may not. How you handle that is up to you.
I see.
I cannot be directly involved because it could start a war between Spire and the Isle.
So we need to be covert about this.
You don't need to be covert.
But our connection does.
Yes. It can't get directly back to me, but as my fellow ambassador here, I wanted to let Ambassador Joshi know the situation and see if perhaps her and her crew could take the lead on this. We do have limited resources available here in the land of the living, and we have to be judicious. So, I will leave you to talk, make decisions in private, however you'd like to. This room is yours to use as you see fit. And did that footman have a name? The one who was real excited to bring you polish?
I don't believe we got
I
that.
don't. Yeah.
No.
I think so.
Okay. The footman here will provide you anything you might need. If you need food or if you need rooms for the night, you're certainly welcome to stay here in the estate. But I have more meetings to get to, unfortunately. So, Ambassador, could I speak with you outside for just a moment?
Of course.
It was a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Your Majesty.
And yours.
Milady.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
And so she sweeps out the door and actually holds the door open for you, Joshi. The footman is like, oh my gosh. Don't do that, Your Majesty. But doesn't say anything. He just is like, oh, dying inside. And she waits for you to come out into the hallway and walks a few steps down, kind of looks to make sure there's no one within earshot. And she says, so, Ambassador, it's also important that, as I mentioned, I can't be directly involved in this. It's depending on who you contact or get involved with, they may accuse our organization of being hypocritical. One example they often bring up is my literal existence.
That's rude.
I want you to understand because of the rumors, right? And so, for common knowledge sake, out of character, a lot of people think that she was a mortal who studied necromancy and gained the power to not die.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what she means by the rumors, right? Which, what did Joshi think of those rumors?
Well, they're obviously nonsense because the consulate would never go
Okay.
for that, but also that, like, I believe that as you work for the consulate and you get to know a little bit more, you understand that there are also a lot of different people in this existence
Right.
than you would necessarily meet on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
Because you meet them, and sometimes they're ghosts.
So she says, I would prefer just to keep this between you and I. And she, again, like glances up and down the hallway. It's a little weird that if she's that worried about it, that we're just talking about this in the hallway, but
Mm-hmm.
she's also does seem real confident in just her general existence, which may not be unfounded. But she says, I did die, and I'm dead. So that is unsettling for a lot of people. If they were to learn it, it would be unsettling. And
People are close-minded. I encounter it on not at your scale, obviously, Majesty.
I want you to be equipped to answer questions like, well, she did it. and she is like very kind of snide about that whole concept. I want you to have the confidence to know that I did not. And I do find their method abhorrent. So, please do just keep this between us, though.
Absolutely. My lips are sealed. And, you know, Arjun knows that she'll be banished to
Yep.
the deepest pits of the Shadowlands, should she ever breathe a word.
Yes, you hear this like sort of squeaky, this like sarcastic tone is gone, like. But the queen obviously knew Arjun was there the whole time. Like that was not a surprise to her. But she nods to the both of you and says, "Well, safe travels to you then, and may the sun never set." And she just sweeps off down the hallway.
Death becomes her.
It certainly does. So, in our massive, it could be a ballroom if they got this huge long table out of there. Probably, what did we say, seating for 50 or something? Like, that doesn't even seem big enough. It's like, you know, comically large table, like where you'd seat people one across from each other, right? Not wide, but. And yeah, you're left there with the Footman Green is his name. And what would you all like to do?
I don't know about you, but I'm starving.
I could always eat.
And you all did get here. It was like close to midnight or so when you got here. I think because your meeting was
Yeah,
at
it's at
midnight.
midnight.
Yeah,
Right,
so
yes.
it's now 12:30 in the morning, and
Some food and a good night's sleep sounds lovely because it is a very long ride back.
well, should I arrange a suite, separate rooms? Are any of you sharing rooms? What would the arrangement be?
I don't think we've had separate rooms. We live on a ship. Separate rooms would be lovely if you wouldn't mind.
Of course.
We don't mean to put you out.
Oh no. I have a suite, if you like, of adjoined rooms that would be convenient and private for you to use while you're here.
Well, that sounds perfect.
All right.
If I could trouble you for ink and quill and your finest inks.
Of course.
You just happen to have some spare Kraken ink lying around, do you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just worth
Sir,
asking.
what, it was Mr. Ovandris? Is
Oh,
that-
yes.
Is that what we... I'm out of character.
Yeah. The third leads into salads. Like, oh, it was worth asking.
Of course. It's not important.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll send an assortment of foods, and I'll get the ink and pens, and I'll make sure we have a footman there. I mean, I will take over for the evening. I will be there all night. So whatever you need, I'll be right outside your door.
You're too kind.
That seems excessive.
Thank you, Bree.
Lucky, sometimes you just have to enjoy these things. How often do you get to stay in a royal estate like this?
Chirp, chirp.
Torrent.
The look that Pooja just gave is worth going to this timestamp on the YouTube.
Yes.
Oh, shoot. I should have hit the timestamp button.
We're good.
Oh, well.
We're good. All right. So Green leads the way. Door opens up into essentially a sort of efficiency suite. You know, there's like a little sitting space and a kitchenette kind of arrangement, and then there's 5 doors, a bathroom, and just 4 bedrooms just right off of the side here. Also, based on where you walked up and where the side of the building is, this is bigger on the inside. It's another situation of little spatial distortion.
Oh, yes, the classic Tardy design.
Yes. The Tardesian school of thought. Yeah, Green gets you all set up. When you get there, like when he takes you up there, there is a thing of like pens and a couple inkwells sitting on the little writing table in the sitting area.
Excellent.
Already before you
Right.
get there. So there's that. There's some, tray of food sitting out, and Green gets you all in there and says, I'll be right out in the hall if you need anything. And the door closes, and for those of you magically inclined, you can tell also as soon as the door seals, there is a protective ward that sort of shimmers around the space of this. So it's protected sort of in an ambient way by the fact that it is slightly out of space, and it is intentionally protected by wards of like silence and privacy and that kind of thing. There's also a teleportation ward on it. Teleportation is rare in this world, I think, but
Better safe than sorry.
yeah.
And where else would you find it than a royal household?
Right. Like if you were trying to assassinate a queen, that's the kind of technology or magic you might want to have. So,
I'm not familiar with a clandestine sort of mission. Do any of you have any suggestions on where we should start and perhaps what we should look for in the armory?
Something to keep us alive, I assume.
Play to your strengths.
I mean, it would be worth investigating if they have something to assist us in taking out a Kraken. It sounds like an easy source of Kraken ink is not going to be at hand.
So never. My biggest concern with the mission is that, Sal, you have a very, I suppose all of you have a very distinct look. And if we're going to blend
What
in,
do you mean?
you have more tattoos than the average human. And you are a very tall, very strong, very beautiful Catwoman. And you are an 8-foot tall sentient piece of wood. It doesn't exactly blend in a place like the Spire. You might want to find ways to disguise yourselves. Look a little more subtle.
actually,
magical means.
I want to just inject, if everyone's okay with this, that at the Spire, where we, there's all that like mining of special, like, what was it, sailstone?
Hailstone.
And a lot of like magical research doing. I think that is a place where we might see a lot of, for lack of a better word, warforged type in people. Most of them are like mindless automatons, but I think there's a little bit of some of that. So at least on that note, Sal might actually have a way to
Perhaps
fit in, but Wall's tattoos
Paint
are
them.
certainly notable, and there aren't that many cat people there. But yeah.
the three together. Perhaps if we could paint you to look metallic.
It's not as though we're unknown at the Spire.
Well, that's
I mean, the real issue in being clandestine is not so much us as ourselves, but us as agents of the consulate, if I understood that correctly.
That was the Queen's position. Yeah, like she doesn't want to be tied to it, and the consulate is trying to be surreptitious about it because they don't want to start a war. So they don't want you to be identified as the Queen's guard or the consulate guard. But other than that, it's not that you have to do everything in the shadows. You could buy tanks and roll in and to do whatever it is you want to do, as long as you don't say we're from the consulate, consulate of the dead.
Well, I
Consulate
have
business.
heard,
You have no diplomatic immunity on this mission.
but if we really want to know undercover, I have heard that Rise puts out new uniforms for their sailors every 6 months. And they are about due for a new uniform.
that's brilliant.
We should look into flags too.
Yeah, so when we're sailing, they'll assume
Yes.
they're a prize company. Very smart.
I mean, no one would expect that any of us would be wearing Rise colors.
Good thing Gallant so bravely surrendered his flag to us.
Yes, but where will we find uniforms?
I would feel odd flying under Rise flags again.
I understand, but it's
I
for
will
the sake of
carry it on my
disguising
person.
ourselves.
As a token of office.
All right. Do you think that charming makeup man, I can't think of his name, and I know it was for
Oh,
Bill
Fizzle Crank Bubble
Thank
Switch?
you. Do you think
That's a name I can
Yeah.
remember off the top of my head.
Do you think Mr. Bumbleswitch would be amenable to loaning us or selling the hat without the caboodle? Or without the mirror?
Perhaps we can offer him something in return.
Or, just as one out of character option, you could also pursue, and again, I'm a low prep GM. I do not have rails for you. Just another option here is see if there are any Kraken sightings nearby, and if there's a time reasonable Kraken to hunt. Like some ships go out and hunt Kraken all year, right? But you never know. There could be a lead. There could be a ship that nearly got a Kraken and couldn't manage it.
That would be even better if
such,
they loosened it up.
That would take us time, though, to go out to sea and then fight it and come back.
in our
But-
session 0, I think Wall had heard rumor of an ancient Kraken that was being hunted.
Yes.
And Wall kind of didn't like that, but
I-
that might be something.
Yes, but then we also couldn't actually use it.
There might be ways to get the ink without killing a Kraken, is what Wall doesn't tell anybody.
I mean, if you're gonna milk the Kraken, that's happy Jack's after dark.
Yeah,
Well, the ink is defensive. It's you don't have to.
Excuse me, I gotta go milk the Kraken.
Oh. Bill strikes again.
It will be. How long was it? It was like a week, 2 weeks to get
The-
from.
Oh,
Yeah,
the,
from
the
the
sale
spire
was
to-
10 to 12 days,
Okay.
but the timeline on the cult was not super urgent. It's not like they're about to set fire to the city and
Right.
and gain the key to eternal life. It's just if they keep growing, it's going to be more of a problem. And so that's the only time factor on that part of it is the longer you leave it, it's going to become more of an issue. But taking down the Kraken is like an objectively profitable task, regardless of how things go with the cult. And it would get you some things that would be helpful in infiltrating if you wanted to take an infiltration route, but none of those things are required. Just depends on how you want to proceed.
Perhaps we should see what the Queen's stores hold first, and then if there's nothing along those lines, we could always see if she has something to help us with hunting a Kraken, and then we can hunt the Kraken and then get a hat. And, oh, that sounds so silly coming out of my mouth.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's
If
fine.
Fine.
if we do hunt a Kraken, I think we have time. It will still be less than a fortnight to get back, with luck.
Yeah, I mean, is it worth asking your friend Footman Green, who has volunteered to stand outside the door at this very moment,
Or
if any of the people who work here have heard of recent Kraken sightings?
I would be happy to ask him.
Since you're so friendly now.
All right. Is this?
I don't know if Sal picked up the undertone there, but
Is this as we were coming in to get settled, and then we're going to sleep, or is this we have done a sleep and now it's morning?
I
For
thought this was
conversation?
I thought this was pre-sleep.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sleep.
it's fine. I'm just curious for the scene set. You know.
Why don't we ask him in the morning? I'm just going to snack on this. Go to sleep.
Wall is going to take out his scroll. He doesn't expect it to work, but he's going to just try the regular ink on the scroll and try to start writing his memory of that battle.
Roll a die for me.
Oh, 1.
Oh. Okay. It does appear that this ink is unsuitable. However,
It spits it back at you
Yeah.
as you write.
However,
Speaking of defensive inks.
there must be a cost. The
I'm blind.
that's a minor issue.
He inked me. Right?
The effort of trying to write this down, you realize there is kind of a meditative. There's a mindset that you need to be in, and you're now associating this with frustration,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you've just hit this block, this sort of writer's block, if you will. Yes, you hit a wall.
Only I get to say that.
But the next time you go to try to make an entry in the scroll, you'll have to roll at disadvantage.
Okay. Cool.
And another one in the future, I think, may literally come out as damage.
Cool. I like it.
Because it's trying to pull your memories back to the surface, and I could imagine that doing a sort of shock
There's
or
resistance
like
and stuff.
a
Yeah.
traumatic
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Having
Having failed that, I begin to write my review for the Giant's Wheel instead.
oh yeah, the Giant's Compass
The Giant's Compass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for the fish
5-star
7 ways.
Yeah.
charcuterie.
Yeah.
I just begin with a few lines and then I leave the rest as if it's meant for another writer to finish,
Uh-huh.
and I slide that underneath the door of someone else. You don't know. I don't need to tell you.
Okay. So the bedrooms are also ridiculously opulent. 4 poster beds and like 2 wardrobes. Like, what? How long are we staying here? But if anyone looks, there are clothes that you can take. Like there, and most of them are all in the Queen's kind of black and white. Like I just traveled here and my clothes need to be cleaned and I don't want to look completely out of place. It's not like a livery, right, where you look like a footman if you're wearing it, but it is certainly it's like came from her gift shop, it's the Queen's Rose polos and the drawstring yoga pants with the rose on the butt.
Here with Ghost.
Yes.
era.
Yeah.
I'm keeping this bathrobe. I don't
Yeah.
care about any other consequence. I'm
Sure.
keeping the bathrobe.
Yeah.
Jared just changes out of it, takes his boots off, put on his comfy clothes, and just goes thump right on the bed. And you
Yep.
just hear this moan of like, oh, real bad. Ah.
There's also like a copper tub and well, all kinds of stuff that.
Bad, yes. A lot of moaning from thirds.
Privacy door. Seal it.
Sal normally sleeps as a figurehead on the front of the ship.
Yep.
So this is a little bit strange, and what they're going to do is lift up and bring over one of the cabinets, and sit down in it.
You mean like the wardrobe?
Yeah.
That's like 8 feet tall. Oh, you're
Well,
8 feet tall. Yeah,
you
okay.
know.
That's fine. And I just wanted to make sure I had the right thing in my mind. Not that
Right.
you couldn't lift it. I'm just
Right.
like, okay. Yeah.
And it's going to bring it over to the window
Mhm.
along with one of the chairs, and open the window so I can get any traces of the sea,
Oh, yeah.
and have just one hand in contact with the wood of the cabinet.
Yeah. I'm going to say the air is so still here, you have to use a little bit of your wind magic. You have like a 0 power
Yep.
thing, right? Yeah. But just with a little bit of a pull, you can feel there's some resistance because of the magical protections, and it's almost like you get logged into the system, and your magic then breaks through, and you're able to pull, like you're allowed to use your magic by the security.
Sure.
But yeah, you draw a breeze into the room. You have a scent of the sea. You're not far from the ocean here, but you can't really. I don't think it's in view.
Right, and it's not the salt spray that I'm used to.
So I think that's good for that. Joshi?
I have been working on my notes on the white whiskey.
Mm.
So around the time when a piece of paper is slid under a door, another piece of paper gets slid under another door.
The fish whiskey?
No, there was a white whiskey and a black whiskey.
Oh, the Queen's whiskey. Yes,
Mhm.
yes. Okay.
Possibly never to be published. However, would be remiss without not noting
Okay.
the.
Just doing like tasting notes.
Mhm.
Yep. All right.
There's something almost floral about the back palette.
Yeah.
Leaves you with a
Maybe like
touch
a-
of green.
Yeah. Or sort of like a white lily vibe,
Mm-hmm.
sort of funereal. All right. Well, after your writing attempt,
Yeah. Wall finds another piece of paper, opens it, and for Wall, it began as something fun to do with Joshi, but now it's like he appreciates knowing how she thinks and feels, and this is a way for him to like feel close to someone without being close to someone.
Yeah.
And that's what he's like enjoying about doing all of this for this long.
reading someone's thoughts is on a page is
Yeah.
just as good as being intimately close with someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
As we all know.
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
was doing it wrong.
yeah. Wall's taking a moment to drink that in and then write his review on the black whiskey.
Okay. That's great. What are some of the tasting notes on that?
It tastes like the potential of victory yet to be had, but on the cusp within your grasp.
That is so pretentious. I love it.
Maybe a
Also oaky.
Yes.
like
Hint of hickory.
the smell of almost a metallic finish,
Yeah.
possibly iron or steel.
Perfect amount of tannins and just the right hint of smokiness.
Great.
Reminiscent of the smoke that rises after a righteous victory on the field.
So this makes me think of like when I try to find a recipe in real life, and the like first 3 paragraphs are like, this recipe is important to me because my grandma and I would walk on the
Yeah.
beach and talk about the
Yep.
ingredients that go into it, and I'm ready to share that recipe with you now here. And I'm like,
Like-
just
Summers and
Just
Cape
tell me how
Cod,
many sticks of
always,
butter.
yeah.
Yeah.
always included.
Like, how much pasta do I need to start?
Like, jump to recipe.
Yeah.
Is the best thing.
Yes.
ever.
But first, what is pasta really?
Yeah. What does pasta mean?
Or is
to
pasta
you?
the friends we made along the way?
I hope not. That would make you cannibals.
The pasta is people.
Oh, so piercing.
Soylent Linguini. All right.
Pasta would be bugs, I guess, in that case, but still.
Yep.
Jello bugs.
All right. So, moving ahead. In the morning, there is an array of like breads and things laid out for you with a note that says, just inquire if you want anything. There's like a coffee set and a tea set and a, whatever, all in that little kitchenette. And yeah, the four of you can see that there's like a couple of big windows in that little shared space that you could see out onto the grounds. There is, I think this probably overlooks the little cemetery that you can see in more detail in the daytime now, on the second floor.
This is the life. I could stay in that bed forever.
I hate this place. I can't wait to leave.
Do you think the queen needs a consort? Never mind. Breakfast, yes. He pours himself some coffee.
I mean, you might want to get to know someone first before you.
I got to know that bed very well, and it was. I'd say
heard.
it's half. Oh, was that out loud?
The land is very stable.
We are several miles inland. Does that make you feel uncomfortable, Sal?
Not uncomfortable, but aware.
Well, as much as I enjoy the night that we had here, I'm certain we need to be heading back to sea as soon as possible. So, say, meet up everyone, and then we'll look through the Queen's stores, see if there's something useful for our mission.
All right.
Elliptical wipe to the
Yeah.
to the armory.
That's fine. Yeah. Footman Green is, takes you downstairs several levels. This is like a second basement level. And there are a number of kind of vault-like doors down here. And he leads you to one of them and opens it. They're not labeled or anything, so it's hard to know why he, picked this door, or he just knows what's behind all of them all. And opens it up, and it's essentially, it looks like an armory, right? There's a lot of weapons on the walls. There are some chests on the floor, like around the, edge of the room. There's a number of like, storage chests. So who knows what's in there? When you go in, though, there is a
Power armor, dibs.
loot the room. Everyone's immediately over their carry weight. There is a long flat case, kind of like the rectangular case for an electric guitar. It doesn't look like an electric guitar case, but that like long skinny rectangle kind of thing. That
Is it a guitar?
no, green indicates Wall. The Queen wanted me to bring this down for you.
Guard
so-
wall.
Guard wall. Thank you. That is your pike,
Excellent.
and inside is this. It's like this beautiful satin bedding, to rest this thing in, and it is a absolutely pitch black metal handle. The handle is this like almost black brown wood, right? Polished to a almost metallic sheen. And then it is this black metal, like bladed, like kind of moon-shaped blade with a pointy bit on the end. I think that's what a pike or halberd,
Yeah.
whatever that is. So, and it is like maybe a foot taller than you are.
Okay.
Right. So the blade is just about like the bottom of the blade is about eye level with you when if you set it down next to you.
Okay.
And when you pick it up, it's like not very heavy, feels well balanced. I'm sure you've used this type of weapon before, but yeah.
I'm gonna try to flourish with not showing off, but like I'm testing the balance.
Sure.
Like, is this a thing where it looks really cool, or is it actually combat ready?
It is certainly combat ready.
Okay.
Also, when you move it around more, you see there's this like black ribbon tied to, like right under the base of it, and when you stop moving, the ribbon goes and like coils back around the top part of the handle. But when you move it, the ribbon unfurls, apparently for no reason. I'm not sure what that does. I don't think you've ever had a weapon do that before. But there is some sort of magic in this ribbon that makes it like whoop, coil up around the haft.
Cool. Excellent.
So that also comes with a convenient carrying case.
I will name you Bob.
Ashley.
Courtney,
Thank you.
say it.
I said you should name it Ashley. Either you get it or you don't. It's fine.
All right.
I did not. But
I
I've been
didn't get
thinking about how between you and the footmen, you can get everything you need at Walgreens.
Indeed. All right. So what else are we looking for? And by the way, it's Green also makes it clear that this is not your payment. This is a resupply of something that you were supposed to have. So you're also welcome to pick out.
Oh, okay.
Something
Awesome. I'll
from
take
the room.
another one then.
Dual wielding.
Just things that are taller than you.
It's a brand.
So the game quest has a number of magic items in it. They are there's a lot of variety in like types of things they can do. If you were to think of like on par with +1, +2 items in D&D, or like the foldable boat, right, is one of my favorite things in D&D, and they had almost that exact same thing, I think, in this foldable boat, foldable house. Those types of wondrous items are available. The game has all kinds of stuff, and you are in a very well stocked armory. So it's less likely to have foldable boat in this room, but it is going to have bows, arrows, shields, spears, swords, knives, whatever, and average mundane weapons, we don't even need to write down, right? You all have everything you need for that. I'm not counting your arrows. But for magic items, we should have everyone pick out something fun.
Looking at the list
I
here.
had an idea for, can there be like a gauntlet that telescopes out a tower shield?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, easy.
And like on top of that, can it be a tower shield that cannot sink if it's like dropped in water? Like it stays afloat no matter what.
Oh, yeah, probably because it's made out of ironwood.
Right, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Or like maybe there's sailstone in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
So like a telescoping, tower shield that comes out of a gauntlet, and if I get thrown overboard, it's like a flotation
Sure.
thing.
See,
Like,
life
I'm
vests.
imagining, so it's like a
Best of
oh,
life.
a gauntlet, you said,
Yeah.
and you've got there's like a sailstone chunk
Yeah,
right here, and
yeah.
then that forms like the boss on the shield.
Oh yeah.
For those listening, the boss is the knobby bit on the front of your shield, in case you didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it forms Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Hey, I figure if they're watching our show, there's a pretty good chance they know what a boss is in relation to a shield.
Sure.
All right.
Look, there's an item in here called Ghost Simulator. Like, what is
Goat Simulator.
Simulator.
What
Simulator?
does it do?
Does it eat things?
It's magic stuffed toy goat with a bell collar for 1 AP. When you place the bell collar on the toy, a life-size illusion of a goat appears somewhere random nearby. The goat looks, smells, and feels real to the touch, has 4 hit points, and vanishes at 0. The illusion immediately acts with the kind of chaotic mischief typical of a genuine goat. Keep away from small children. This is in the manual, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is that's hilarious.
Yeah, they
Some
have
of these
a
are very silly.
whole mix of sort of average magic items that you'd want and a bunch of weird stuff. So
Yeah, that's what it looks
we can also have it be, if this is something we want to sort out, between sessions, that's fine. I meant to send you all a list of this beforehand, but or if you have an idea of something that you want to have work a certain way, we can work it out.
I would like an Arumi, which is it's like a whip blade.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I know
Um,
what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just highly flexible steel. It's incredibly sharp, and you use it kind of like a whip.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, do you want a actual fantasy one that has actual like segments and can flex like a whip?
well, that's what I would like is because the thing about Arumi is that they do flex like a whip. Just by
Okay.
being made of steel.
Oh.
Like they are literally like
Okay, that's
they're
cool.
kind of amazing. You should look up the videos. They're
But could you like
definitely scary.
whip
But
it
what I
around
want,
someone's leg?
They're terrifying.
what I
and
want is one that I am able to coil.
Yeah, okay, that's what I meant. Is like that extensive
Yes,
level
I want
of,
that extent of flexibility.
Yeah, okay.
So like Ivy from Soul Calibur, is that?
Yes.
Is that
Yeah. Excellent. I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
or Brotherhood of the Wolf, if you've seen that. Okay.
It's been.
I know somebody
It's
had
pretty
one that
good, but
was
they have swords that are like that. They go chunk 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 into the
Yeah.
thing.
somebody
Yeah,
had one that was like a belt. They like take that off and it would like harden into a sword or be whipped around like a whip.
Nice. Cool. So yeah, and then I would like to be able to so use it and like then I'll coil it around my torso.
That's
as
awesome.
as a,
That's so cool. As an accessory.
Yes.
Love it. Okay. Is it like a light colored metal, a dark metal?
I think it is a dark metal that picks up the part of like the magic of it is it's got like a little bit of like chameleon property. So as I wrap it around my torso, it's like
It looks like a chunky belt.
it does, and it also takes on the tones of.
Oh
my
yeah,
shirt.
okay. Sure.
So it's got some of those color blending properties.
Dope.
Yeah. Cool. Have you seen Miss Marvel?
I haven't finished it yet because I'm terribly behind on everything.
Oh yeah. I think one of the Jinn had a weapon kind of like that.
Well, Arumi have been around forever and originated in Kerala. So if anyone is interested, there's some amazing videos of people using them today and doing a lot of.
That's cool. I'm gonna look that up later.
Cool
That
stuff.
sounds really neat. Okay, so Sal, what are you looking at?
I'm not sure what Sal's looking at yet, but what I do want to do is say green a moment.
Yeah, of course. Sal.
Sal is fun.
Are you wanting to talk to him in private?
Yeah, just
Okay,
like
so
in
you're gonna
just,
walk down
just
one
like in the
end of
hallway,
the
yeah, or one end of the armory or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
My friends and I were thinking of one way of the approach for the mission, and without giving any details, I'm assuming Green wasn't in the room when that happened, was he?
I think he was.
Okay.
When she told you about the cult?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he was there for
Okay.
that. He was politely ignoring the conversation, but he would have to put his fingers in his ears and go la 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 to not hear it, and he did not.
One method of approach that we have considered would involve gaining access to a bladder of Kraken ink.
Oh.
Have you heard of any rumors, or do you know anyone who we may be able to speak to?
No, but I can look into it if you want.
I would appreciate that.
All right. I think in the library on the second floor there may be an almanac of Kraken migration patterns.
am I permitted into the area?
The second floor library, yes. He is really specific about that.
Okay, right. Perhaps you could guide me there.
Yes, of course.
And I will, to everyone else, I'll say, I'm going to investigate our Kraken question, but you should be fine here. I'll be back soon.
All right. We'll be here looking at all the shinies.
Okay. Does everybody have a? Did you pick a thing?
I did not. I have two things that I like, depending on your approval.
Goat simulator.
I almost thought, oh, that's what sound was.
You can
Foldable
have that.
goat.
It is tempting, but there are two things I like. One was called Portal Chalk,
Ooh.
where you draw any kind of enclosed drawing, so like a square or a circle, and then whenever you draw a second one, it creates a portal back to the first one. So it'd be for quick travel.
Portal gun.
I do want to have teleportation be rare in this world.
Okay, we can do that.
So if you're okay having it be a really short range, I could negotiate on that.
Yeah, it would.
Like within a city.
Oh yeah, like that's what I would think. The other option I had, and we can decide, they're called like slippery marbles, where basically it's just a bag of marbles they throw on the floor, and they're very attracted to things that could slip on it,
Like
especially people holding, trays of lots of
feet.
so it could
Dock workers carrying a pane of glass.
That's right.
Yeah.
Can I have instant pane of
Exactly.
glass?
Vegetable sellers.
the
Yeah.
same.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cabbages.
So those are the two I'm looking at if we want to think on them.
Yeah, I'm good with either one of those as long as you don't mind the short range on the
Yeah, I mean it would be more for like getting in and out of a building
Mm-hmm.
rather than like traveling from one island to another.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. I think there are, relatively short range teleports and things like that in this world, but I like the idea of the islands being separated by non-instantaneous travel.
Yeah, maybe there's like a 30-minute time limit on it. So
Sure,
that way
yeah.
like we couldn't possibly use it on one island or another or
Yeah.
Okay.
Is one blue
Yeah.
and one orange?
Of course.
Yeah.
It's one piece of chalk with a blue end and an
Oh,
orange end.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay.
But I
yeah.
also like that it's one piece of chalk, so you can't like give someone else the other half and split up. So I think it has to be one piece of chalk.
I see it more for like making an escape route or
Yeah.
an entry into some place.
You like prepare an exit,
Okay.
and then when you're in somewhere, you
Draw
can.
the entry. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Making a note here. Huge success.
The cake is not a lie.
At some point.
Love,
Cake again.
love those games.
Does
so
anyone
much.
want to look at the item list in the
I'm
Oh,
good.
do you
I
have
got
it up?
mine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Oh yeah, I was going to.
Pass
I was,
that
There you
around.
I was going to download the.
go. Just
Mine-
you have to scroll up a bit to get to the top.
My tablet died. I mean, it has 20%, but that is going to go to 0 in no time.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's.
Brell's magnificent morsels.
Oh,
There's a
delicious.
lot of silly sounding
Yeah.
items.
And
in
I
there.
appreciate that commitment. I think that's what we like in a fantasy game is a little tongue in cheek. Well, I don't know. Some people like a real gritty. They want their Game of Thrones fantasy, but that's I don't know. Like Lord of the Rings has a little comedy in it, and that's about as gritty a fantasy as I can manage. Also read The Black Company, which was pretty good, but was so dark.
Yeah. I love those books, but don't go there for a good time.
Oh.
Except for a couple of scenes.
Yeah, I read I think the first 2, and I was like, I really like this, but I am emotionally exhausted, and I can't read any more of this.
I mean, that's like when you read like the Poppy War.
I don't know
and
that
you're-
one.
Oh. So the Poppy War is like it's a fantasy trilogy. It's the first book in a fantasy trilogy, set in like, fantasy China around the Opium Wars.
Okay.
And they're so good. They're like genius level good. And they will take your heart out
Oh.
from your chest while you're still alive and carve it into little pieces and then feed you little bits of it for funsies.
Oh, the
Sounds
series
wonderful.
you recommended, Iron Spider? The like spirit kaiju, I'm certain you're the one who recommended this to me. That they're like in mechs and like
Oh yes, Iron Widow.
Iron Widow. Yes, Iron Widow. Really enjoyed that. But that was another one that was like took really dark. I was like, whoa, this is such an interesting concept. Like, oh shit.
Yes, I probably should have told you to look up the content warnings on that. Sorry.
No, it wasn't anything triggering for me personally. It was just a very consequential read that I enjoyed. And yeah.
There's this meme that the author posted on their
For
Twitter
Iron
once,
Widow?
For Iron Widow, and it's two people like in a store beating the shit out of each other,
Okay.
and then like another person comes back and they're a very attractive person like dancing and like being sexy, and the two people fighting just like stop fighting and like turn to stare.
Okay.
And
Priorities.
and they had like put down it's like the names of the characters in the book.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Jason, there's something here called the Atlas Incognito,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know if this would circumvent the story.
Well,
At
what
all?
is it?
It's a book of 10 magic stamps produced by various underground organizations. When a stamp is removed from the book and placed on a map of a town or city, it reveals on the map the name and location of one of each of the following: an underground marketplace where stolen goods are traded, a popular safe house for criminals, and a popular establishment where illegal services are offered.
I'm fine with that being in the game. It doesn't say which popular safe house is he, or you know, like yeah.
Okay,
It's going to be somewhat random.
Sure, but if we're going someplace that is, you know, a hidden den of cultists who are trying to live
Yeah.
forever, that might help reveal some of that, or give us a place to start to find.
Yeah, or at
contacts.
least get a leg up on the black market and, you know, find a way in. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I
Okay.
don't. It is going to be really limited use, but that is also probably the kind of thing you would find in the library of like, oh, look at this sort of unused travel log.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And Sal's not big on like weapons
Okay.
or things, so
Yeah, I think that's fine.
okay. I'm gonna still take a look at a couple other things, but what I really want to do is head to the library.
Yep.
And do some research there.
Okay. So yeah, Green shows you into the library. There is a beautiful a dome, like window dome. You know, like little segments of window. It's like half a D20 dodecahedron.
That's an icosahedron.
Icosahedron. So like the top half of a D20.
A cupola.
Yes. In atop the center of the library, and then there's walls of library with rolling ladders because we have to have rolling ladders.
Of course, rolling ladders. No good fantasy
Yeah.
doesn't have rolling ladders.
There are two globes, like great big, you know, like couldn't put your arms around them globes. Even Sal could not. One of them is the planet that you recognize, and even has like illusory moons around it. Like you could reach through them, right? They're just like
Right.
glowing, you know, the moons. What did we say? There was like 3 or 4 of them, right? And then there's another globe that does not look immediately familiar to you, but it is equally large and detailed, and
It just has one moon.
I look for the star system Camino, and it is missing.
Lost a star system you have. Okay. So does Green sets me up with the book that he mentioned about the migratory patterns?
He points out one of the almanacs, but it's like in a row of almanacs. He's like, so, you know, whatever you like here. If you want to jot something down, there's quills, ink, paper over there. Or if you need a scribe, I can get somebody to help you.
The library research assistant.
Yeah.
You never underestimate a librarian.
No, never. Librarians are our saviors. Thank you, librarians.
We do endorse this message.
Yes. So, flipping through the almanac, and Green kind of just leaves you to work on your own for now. I'm going to have you roll a die.
Okay.
Actually, roll with advantage because this is reading maps about the ocean,
Okay.
which you're a little familiar with,
Right.
almost at an instinctual level.
And I've got this lovely globe. A 10. The other one was a 1. So we're going
ooh.
to say...
All right. Is 10 tough choice or is that success?
Tough choice.
Tough choice.
Just right on
Okay.
the cusp of success.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you understand the general idea of the map, but this is like somebody who learned to play music by ear, putting sheet music in front of them and saying, "Here, play this song," and they're like, "I don't know what that is," right? This is how humans draw maps of the ocean, and it doesn't make any sense. It's almost two-dimensional. It's like the surface of the ocean. What?
Well,
This is
yeah,
stupid.
this doesn't make any sense.
This is not how any of this works. The tough choice, I think I'm gonna just give you imperfect information, right? In that you can see, like, you don't really understand what's labeled. It's not like you don't understand the words,
Right.
right? But they're like labeled sightings or something, right? As far as you can tell from what this information, and it does look like between the Isle of the Seven Queens and Spire, that it is like a fishing lane, right? It's all kinds of fishing, but it also it looks like a relatively high number of Kraken are found in this part of the world. There's lots of places in the world where those sort of that current that you all were in to get here, that's part of it. Like that they like to float into stuff like that, and but it's really hard to tell exactly what it is. Maybe some of your crew will be able to help make sense of it, but it for you in this moment, it's really frustrating.
Okay. That sounds fair.
And I am going to say, depending on what you want to do, it just takes you a long time to figure this out, and it's going to kind of limit your ability to go wandering around the rest of the library as well. So, is that okay for now?
Absolutely.
Okay. What's happening downstairs?
We're looking at the shinies.
Mm-hmm.
I have decided to try out my new toy on the so conveniently placed indestructible dummy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they definitely have. Well, the dummy
My
is
name is Wall.
destructible. I have a name. I think the dummy is this, like sort of wooden mannequin type of thing. And it does come apart, but then it just goes back together. So you want the satisfaction of like yanking someone's arm off,
True.
If you're gonna yank someone's arm off and beat them to death with their own limb, you want that visceral experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, your arm's off.
Fascinated watching her do it. Can I try?
I mean, be careful.
Okay.
It's sharp.
Of course. I mean,
Has Third used this type of weapon
not
before?
like this, but I think he has some weapon training.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Swings him.
I picture him doing very sort of gentlemanly rapier,
Yeah.
If he was a sword fighter, absolutely, but he understands it's a whip. He's like, okay, stand back just in case. Sure. Oh, hey! Comes back together. That is, God, the second one. Love this. I really need to introduce you to her someday. And he hands the sword back.
I forget. Did you decide on a? Oh, you were deciding between two things.
I went with the portal.
The
The
portal,
portal
yeah,
chop.
portal chop.
Portal chop.
Okay, got it. And you've got your
I
shield
have
gauntlet.
my shield gauntlet that cannot sink.
Yep, the unsinkable wall. The
Can be
unsinkable
used as the
tower.
flotation device.
The floating fortress wall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Floating fortress. Oh, that's good. Floating
Yeah.
fortress. Okay, that's the name of the magic item.
There's a thing in the guide that's just called the lanyap. And I'm like,
Mm.
yay, lanyap.
Lanyap?
Yeah, it's just a little extra, like your weapon does a little extra damage.
Oh.
But I just love that that's the name of things because I'm from South Louisiana.
Okay.
And so today has been a day of feeling like home.
Sure. All right, so Sal sort of has an almanac. Find out who won the 1985 World Series.
Mm.
It's only a partial manac.
Yeah,
Mm.
It's
it's a summanac.
yeah, it's a summanac.
Joshi has a sword whip thing.
Arumi.
Very fashionable.
R-U-M-I?
Urumi.
I am not.
How dare.
Arumi. Okay. And third, got the chalk. I won't forget it now because I've written it down. And Wall has floating fortress.
So you can beat your brain rather than flip the page.
Yes. How dare you? How dare you challenge me in this way? I'm gonna say Sal has taken so long with the almanac. Like the sun has moved in the sky. It's getting
We
on.
should go get him.
You know, and you all are like, what?
Them.
Where is Sal? They've disappeared, right? But you know, they went to the library. You know, they went to the second floor library because that's the one they're allowed to go to. So if you all want to,
Yes, we should probably go check on them.
Make sure that they didn't, get too involved with their new friends.
Mm.
Right.
you mean green? All right.
Just enjoying new experiences from other people. It's fine.
But that's what we want with them, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
Completely and totally happy for them.
No, it's fine. We'll knock first, just in case. Go up to the library and... Sal, you in there?
The big like double oak doors that like 10 feet tall, you know, because the library inside the library is like 3 stories, right? This internal space. And you know, you walk in and your footfalls diminish, like the sound of your steps are muffled, and it's just very quiet in here. And the fact that it's noon is, you know, you can see the sun through the cupola. You know, interestingly, you know, the triangles of glass that are set into this sort of dome-shaped thing, but it's much diminished. It's almost like sunglasses level of like smoked glass. And then you see Sal. I was gonna
This
see
isn't
tearing their
how
hair out.
oceans
Yeah.
work.
Just slamming the book shut and looking visibly frustrated.
Yes.
That's also a very like humanoid affectation. That is this like maybe the most frustrated Sal has been.
I think so. I think this is the most frustrated anyone's ever seen Sal.
Yeah,
My timbers are definitely shivered.
sure. And is your hair like sort of mussed over, or you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Okay, I like it. All right.
Oh, the acoustics in here are terrible. Oh, there you are. Got lost in a book, eh?
Is something the matter?
This isn't how the seas work,
I'm sorry?
but I have some information about some Kraken. But it's... Have you read anything about ghosts by someone who can't see them? Have you read something about fighting by someone who has never fought? Have you read anything about...
Anything?
Have you ever
Dun,
read
dun,
poetry by someone without a soul? Yes, too often.
Somebody who's reviewed poetry
Yeah.
without ever having written any.
Yes. Oh, too often. Well, you'll
I
pretty well
take it you
travel.
feel as though you've read something written of the sea by those who've never tread upon it.
That's what it seems like. They have these drawings, but the sea isn't drawings. The sea is more than the surface. Look here. They just have this line that they say is the trade lane.
And it's because the Rise Company endorses these lanes, and so they become part of the books.
but they don't. But they're not right. The lane doesn't operate. I'm sorry, I'm talking way too fast for
Oh, for Sal.
for
Yeah.
Sal.
But that's okay because we only have so much time in
Yeah,
our show.
okay,
Yes.
fair enough. Everyone listening, Sal speaks much slower than that and lower pitch than my voice was going. They move. They don't work this way.
Yes, but maps are a static. Think of it as like when an artist draws a scene. So you have a sketch. It is a snapshot in time. Or whatever the fantasy equivalent of a snapshot would be when there are no cameras.
Sure.
A portrait.
It is a portrait
yeah.
in time. It is not a...
But that portrait is true. Everyone did sit for that time, or the land did look like that. The ocean never stops. So this is pointless. This makes zero sense.
Well, I think you're our most seasoned sailor.
Mm.
Is that right?
Mm.
Will you roll a die for me, please? Oh, actually, I'm going to give you a choice. You can burn up that disadvantage now if you want.
Mm.
The disadvantage for making
Mhm,
notes about yourself,
mhm,
because this
mhm.
is sort of,
Yeah.
this could dredge up
I'm in a
weird
mood.
memories.
Yeah.
Okay. Lowest?
My lowest is a 16 and the other is a 20.
Oh.
Okay, so you do feel that little bit of the, like, almost that critical success of,
Mhm.
and then the light, it's almost like it's slammed in your face, right? But you have enough insight to
Mm.
understand. Part of the reason this almanac is weird is because it was not made by sailors.
Mm-hmm.
But what it is showing is everywhere a Kraken has died
Okay.
in the last 10 years.
Okay.
And that is strange.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah.
you've never seen a map like that before.
Mm.
Because it's not like we hunted a Kraken here. It's just with no context at all, a Kraken died here.
Reported deaths of Kraken.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, not reported. It's this book is just stating it as a fact.
Okay.
As
Okay.
like an
Ah.
objective truth.
Okay.
Mm.
Kraken has died here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not by, this sailing party or this
Right,
hunting
right,
party
right.
or on this date specifically. It's
Mm.
just in this season, this Kraken died
Mm.
in this spot.
Mm.
And it's so strange also because it is this like concrete objective telling,
Right.
which is a little strange.
Are there any authors attached to this, or do I get the sense this is a book that's writing itself?
Oh, what a clever question for my player to ask. There are no authors in the title. Like it doesn't even have a title page.
Mhm.
You open the cover and it's like an empty journal, right?
Right.
But somebody's been filling in.
Right.
So you open the cover and flip to, recent dates. It's sort of by date, and then corresponds to parts of a map, and yeah, it just is. There's no attribution. There's no author. Nothing.
Is it broken down by other sea life that is dead in various places?
No, the almanac seems to only be tracking Kraken, Death, and Hatch.
Hmm. I explain all of that to my compatriot.
Well,
There's no way you could have interpreted.
right.
Like it's such, and especially for Sal, like it's so concrete and literal. Like,
Well, and I know Sal knows what death is, but the concept of life and death in being recorded that way, I think, is strange.
yeah,
It's outside of Sal's experience.
and it's kind of strange for the mortals in the group too. It's a weird way to, like, somebody. It's like any journal like this should have who was the observer. Like
Right.
what adventurer, what traveler jotted this down.
Yeah.
And noted this and was corroborated by another party, and that's how information spreads around the world in a world like this. So when you point that out, Arjun whispers in Lucky's ear. I think nobody else can hear at this point because I know who can see Arjun all the time. Oh, it's
On the ship, I can.
on the ship. Okay, so I'm gonna say no one can see or hear Arjun right now. Arjun whispers in your ear. Those are pass-throughs now.
All of them?
Well, those three are. I don't know all of them.
Interesting. It would be worth, I believe, checking out, at the very least, a couple of these locations.
Yeah, there are those three that she's indicating are like a couple extra days off of the route to get back to the Spire, but it's not so far off, and it's three that are pretty close, like less than a day from each other for any three of them. Like you could visit all three if you took a whole day of sailing. You could visit all three sites and just sort of observe for yourself, but it probably died underwater, but you know, they're that close to each other.
So once we find a Kraken, how do we kill it and extract the ink if it's underwater?
You don't fight a Kraken.
You don't?
You convince it.
Well, then that changes things now, doesn't it?
And if you don't, you survive. Maybe.
Perhaps I'll be of use after all.
Have any of you seen or encountered Kraken before?
Mm-mm.
I would think Sal probably has, but not like intimately.
Yeah.
Like I've seen a whale brooch,
Yeah.
or I've seen a Kraken brooch, but have not been 20 feet from a Kraken when that happened.
Maybe you picked up survivors. Like a rise ship had been demolished, and sort of at the beginning of you being conscious, you
Sure.
went to the survivors and saw some of the roiling tentacle mass disappear below the ocean, with just wreckage and some survivors. Sure, I like
Okay.
that.
I think I've only met the ghosts of those who have.
It's interesting to note that when the Rise ships began to pour into the open seas, the amount of Kraken encounters also increased. In the Old Kingdom, we regarded Kraken as equal beings. Something has changed.
It might have something to do with the way that... I don't want to speculate too much. But these three sites, at the very least, they might not be the cause, but there are pass-throughs there now.
Sorry, a pass-through?
I'm thinking of it as a thin place, a place that's easier to pass between.
It's
For the Shadowlands.
It's when the veil is more permeable.
Ah.
And if Rise is, well, they might not know what they have on their hands. But cats aren't the only beings with one foot in one world and one foot in the other.
I should like to see this place.
It's only one day journey out from the
Wait,
route that we would
Out
be
of your
taking
way.
other.
Yeah. A day out of your way.
Yes, but we would want to get the Kraken ink and then return to this. Wait, was this city where we found the magic mirrors?
Well, yeah, back
Yes.
to Port Fiend. Yeah,
Morphine, yes.
yeah, would be ideal. So there would be
Mhm.
some back and forth there. It might mean as much of a month before you got back to the shrine. No, spire. So, but again, in the scope of what we're talking about, that's not an unreasonable amount of time.
Yes.
The quest timer isn't completely paused, but it's also not
Mm.
spinning out of control. So
I suppose what we need to consider is it worth our time to go out and hunt a Kraken and come back and go forth all for the sake of disguising Sal?
I mean,
I need the ink.
I mean, of
We
course we
need-
need the ink, but
we all need the ink. And the deal that Shopmaster Bumblesnitch.
switch.
I'm sorry.
so close.
He's no snitch.
It's like, what is that, a N? Is that a W? My own writing has betrayed me.
Yeah.
Shopmaster Bumbleswitch has offered is highly valuable to those who travel upon the seas, which we do, as you may have noticed.
He also offered to do our tattoos if we bring him the ink.
Yeah, before the moon of the
Right.
which is now about 2.5 months away.
I think it's worth our time. And it's worth our time. This area also seems to be rather popular with Kraken. If they
Alright.
congregate there, either for mating or for.
Krakens have meetings?
I mean, baby Kraken have to come from somewhere.
Oh, matings. I heard meetings. And, it's the accent. Just
I mean, I don't know how
Pump, pump,
much.
pump,
I don't know
pump. I
how
called
much
this
your
meeting to
family has
order.
told you
not
about,
much about Krakens, no.
about how new creatures come into this world.
It was
Now
the
that I
first
know,
meeting of the Kraken that brought order to the first world and the old empire.
And then Wall rambles off in a story as we star
love it.
wiped.
Yeah. Okay, so is there anything else we should say is covered before we
Cast off?
hop in a carriage back to Port Fiend and cast
Um,
off, as the term goes?
Before we go anywhere else, though, we do need to figure out what to do with this mage.
Right. Are they awake yet?
Well, they're
should-
back on your ship,
Right, we should-
Oh, right, but they were
you know,
kind of
half a day's ride away.
In Doc's
Mhm.
care.
Ugh.
What was it? It was like a couple hours by horse, I think, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Was the
Mm.
thing? Yeah.
Well, we can have this discussion on the horses
Yes.
or in the carriage on the way.
Oh, one thing in the library, Lucky Joshi, I need you to roll a die for me.
12.
Okay. The two great big globes in the room, one of them you recognize as the world. The other one didn't look particularly interesting, except then there was this, like, from even far away, it's almost like it was glowing a little bit. It's not literally glowing, but it caught your eye. And as you take a closer look, you can see it's not like a literal formation, but it's an icon, right, on the surface of that globe that is the coiled thorn, right? Coiled thorn stalk. And you're used to that being like the sign of the embassy, the stamp of the embassy, almost like embassy here is what that looks like to you. And that being the case, it may indicate that this other globe is an entire map of the Shadowlands, if such a thing were possible to exist. You've never even heard of a map, because you barely remember your own experience being an ambassador. So,
It really needs a layoff, those memory wipes.
how many times did you flashy thing me?
Oh, I suppose if anyone would have one, it would be the queen. It's like, just, trace my fingers over like try to get kind of a sense of it and see if
Mhm.
I could hold on to that sense.
Yeah. Roll a die again. This is mostly for fun. I'm gonna give you some information no matter what.
18.
Oh, great. Yeah, as you kind of, put a finger, like go to touch the map and move it around a little bit, your memory would just, pull this, massive wipe and drop you into a seething battle, right? Horses charging, chariots overturned. There are giants that are being brought down by the sorry, all I could think of was the STST being brought down by the
Mm,
A-wing. I think he had an A-wing to.
those were snow speeders.
Was it snow speeder? I thought
Yeah.
it was his.
And those
Shit.
were ATSTs. If you're
AT
talking about Hoth.
You nerds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
STST's the two-legged one.
I literally have a
ATS,
Star Wars.
ATRT is the chicken walker,
Oh, okay.
and the Ewoks brought those down.
Yeah. Okay.
The
AT-ATs,
ATs
the
are the
AT-AT.
big,
Oh, AT-AT is the big one.
the
Yes.
big
okay.
dogs.
All right. Anyway, none of that matters right now. But there are.
Well,
You came to the
actually-
wrong table, Jason.
One of my favorite memes is it's like Patrick Stewart with a quote from like
Yeah.
Gandalf, but it's attributed to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Han
Captain
Solo.
Kirk or
Yeah.
Han
Of
Solo.
Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. I love that. Because I love my nerd family, but I also like to put my finger in the socket. So, see what happens. So your perception is just yoinked into the middle of this battle. What role would Joshi play in the middle of a pitched battle like this? Considering she's normally more of a clandestine operations, shit went down, found herself in this situation. What were you doing?
I think that there would be a lot of like clearing a path.
Okay,
Um like
like shadow to shadow kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like
or
okay,
like even more of a, I guess the way I'm picturing it is if there's a raging battle going on, it's like set my sight on a place that looks like of importance.
Mm.
sure.
Like if I can see where a commander is or something, and then like surgical strike my way there.
Mm.
Yeah. So you do manage to do that, and this battlefield is like the ground is dark red and the sky is slightly lighter red. It's not an earthly view, and you realize you are fully on the other side of the veil during a battle in a pass through, right? Like this like somebody was charging a pass through.
Mm.
You're not your memory is not fully in place of like what side of this, like was I with the giants, was I with those centaurs, like, but not like you're doing a like Assassin's Creed, like you're doing a memory, but the like front part of that memory is not all there. But what you see is Wall rush like on foot, like charging into a horse that has reared up and is about to stomp down on what you know is one of your generals, like a general of the embassy. And Wall just like tips this, like knocks the horse down. The horse is fine, and he unmounts the rider and just, can we say like beats him to death in the mud? Is that a Wall move or?
Is Wall armed at this point, or is he just bull charging?
You would be armed, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would use a weapon. I don't
Okay.
think Wall at that point fist fought too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, you
Yeah.
knock over the horse, yank this like fully armored knight out
Yeah.
of the saddle, and end him, right? And Joshi remembers being there, helping the general to their feet, and the general pointing out to Wall the like several arrows through his body and giving him the option of joining the consulate guard in that moment. So that's happens, and you snap back to your current situation.
Okay.
But you can't remember the general's name. The knight was definitely a nobody. But the knight was 9 or 10 feet tall and was on a horse, like we say a horse, but like this is no horse.
It's like a war horse.
Yeah, but like more. It was a horse for 10-foot tall people,
Mm.
right? Like
Mhm.
wherever this land, what this person came from is like mini giants. You know, like
So I came in like a wrecking ball.
you did. Yeah, a wrecking wall.
Mm.
Okay. Well, that is Oh. Interesting. Well, thank you for that.
Does Wall still have those arrow wounds somewhere?
Yeah. And they're in a like recognizable star constellation. Like
Mm.
let's say like 5 or 6 went through the same part of your torso,
Mm-hmm.
and
Because I charged a bunch of archers
yeah,
to break their line or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you did. So
Okay, well, I'm going to hold on to that until a less public moment.
okay,
Wall scratches at the area.
yeah, as you come back to yourself, and for everyone else, Joshi had a moment of like, you know, not being totally there, but it wasn't as long as the scene we just watched, right? Just a few seconds pass for you. Anything else we should take care of in the library?
I think we're ready to find a ride back. Perhaps another carriage, or did you want to do something else?
Well, we booked the carriage for the return trip, so.
Yeah, I think your driver was in the servants' quarters or something. They have a spot for
He
drivers.
probably wasn't expecting to wait all day. We should.
Oh, the meter's been running.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I mean, we are going to have to pay extra.
And now it's surge pricing.
Well, fortunately, the Queen's paying for this, so it's covered.
Well, then take the scenic route.
I mean, you
Every
can.
route with me is the scenic route.
The west side of the island, you remember the island looks vaguely like a gravestone, and or you know the headstone of a sort of classic looking thing. And the Queen's estate is kind of up in the middle of the curved part. The west side of the island is where Haunt House was. The east side of the island we haven't explored, and then the right in the middle of the south is the great big cliff that Port Fiend is built into. So that's what we're looking at.
Before we go, do you want to find out if you had an audition?
Oh, that's right. Courtney remembered third head. We should probably check back at the lodgings. I gave them my contact information, so I'm sure if something has come up, then they'll send a missive. We should swing by there anyway and pick up Cotel and Danny. God knows what kind of trouble they've gotten into.
True. I mean, the doc will keep Danny out first, but no telling with Cotil.
Isn't the doc on the ship with the
No,
Doc
Doc
Hammond?
joined us at the.
Taryn, the cook, is on the ship because she didn't want to come ashore for some reason.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm good. No, I'm fine. I need to
Right.
re-clean the potbelly stove
Mhm.
like 3 times.
Can I roll to see if Taryn has a history with
Tarina? It
With
wasn't
Tarina,
Taryn.
yeah.
It wasn't
Tarina,
Taryn, 'cause I
sorry.
know a Taryn.
if Tarina has a history with Chef Spicer.
Yeah, I like that roll. Let's see.
No. No, it was
Well,
a
what did
3.
you roll? You got
It
a
was
3? Yeah, you really, you know what? Can I say that Lucky didn't even pick up on how suspect her like demeanor was
Yeah,
of like,
absolutely.
yeah, all right, she doesn't want to go ashore.
This
Anyone
isn't
else?
a lie. I said I needed lie. I need lie.
Yeah. I think Sal probably wouldn't be super perceptive on that either. If either of you want to pick up Tarina's discomfort, that's up to you. But
I think Third would leave it be. Third would notice if someone's acting badly and just be like, it's none of my business. I don't know this person. It's fine. But drama.
all right.
Are you upset with me, Lucky?
Are you just asking this in the library?
I think
mean
on
the
the carriage.
Okay, on the carriage ride. Great.
No, I'm not upset with you at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
Are you doing a lie?
You just seem to be taking my relationship with Green a little more seriously than I think that it was just a passing discussion.
What relationship with Green?
That's what I want to know.
Now, Pooja, is Joshi oblivious or is Joshi
No,
obfuscating?
because Joshi is not upset about whatever relationship you may or may not have with Green. Joshi is upset that she has been trying to get you to experience new things and tastes, and she got you a fish 7 ways 3 hours ago, and you were so not into it, and you weren't even trying.
But then
But
the wood
what?
polish.
And then here's some guy.
Random guy you
Yep.
just met is like, hey, you want some wood polish? And oh, you're real into that.
Meanwhile, Wall and Third are sitting on the other side of the carriage, right there, just being like, "Don't perceive us." Don't perceive us."
Now,
We're
is
not
that,
here.
did we get that from Joshi out loud, or was that
Yes,
okay?
I think this
Okay.
is the like when you're like
It's finally
the
blown
relationship. It's
Yeah.
like, oh no, here's Sal, and the point is over here.
up. Okay.
And that is more than Lucky can take.
Okay. Sal.
Oh.
Uh-huh. Oh.
I'm sorry that I'm sorry that the experiences you were providing for me. I just realized what a shit apology that was, but I'm gonna go with it for Sal.
I love it.
Wow.
I love it.
Give us the celebrity
let's-
apology.
Let's get it. Oh, I'm eating this up. Can we have the line again, please?
Yes. I'm
Once again for safety.
And slate yourself and your agency.
I'm sorry that the experiences you were trying to provide me didn't spark my interest the way that this other new experience had.
Yes, well, don't worry. Won't happen again.
I'm sorry you were upset. Blah.
I'm sorry your feelings were hurt.
Yeah.
Sorry you feel that way.
Gross.
I'm sorry you took offense.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Worst apologies. Now I want to write like an ode to bad apologies. I like a good series of like a sonnet format. I feel like there's something there. I'm gonna think about
That's
that.
my next PBTA project.
Ode to bad apologies.
Yeah.
Bad apology world.
Yeah.
That's just our world.
That's like realism.
Yeah.
The TTRPG.
All right. So, as
It's just that things don't taste the way that you've described that they should taste. And we kept trying, and it didn't work. And I'm sorry that there is something that did work that didn't occur to you. Jeez, I hate this.
Ugh.
This is so gross.
Yes, because It's fine.
I'm just reading
Don't worry. I am glad that you had the experience.
I was going to tell the story of the time I died and then came back to life.
Not now.
But did you die? All right. I just did my own little check here. I rolled a 6. So Sal says, good. I'm glad we had this conversation.
Yes,
This was
Yes,
a
I am.
productive conversation.
I am very glad that we had this conversation.
Oh, there was a conversation. I was just reading my book.
They say you see a light at the end, but I didn't. I never saw a light.
Hmm.
I'm sweating. This whole thing was just
So
horrible.
uncomfortable. I love it. I'm here for it. Thank you for committing and doing this very uncomfortable thing. And for viewers to know, also, we as a table have our X cards and our safety tools in place that if things get uncomfortable, we've had conversations and have tools available to us to resolve things. So this like good in character juicy bits are like, no. More enjoyable when you know you have backup like
Yeah.
safety tools. So
For sure.
Yes. And it is definitely something that you will never have to worry again, that I will impose unwanted experiences upon you. And definitely that it is obvious that you have no desire to give input as to things that might actually work. Rather just, you're a receiver. I get it. It's just open receiver all the time. And I'm glad that we had this discussion so that I could understand that as thoroughly as we needed to.
I didn't know that this was going to work, or I would have said something before.
Mm-hmm.
A 1.5 foot of ashwood arrow sprouts from your driver's chest. And he keels over. And also in the, kind of like fumbles the reins and whatnot, and the horses scream and start bolting.
Mm.
You're going full speed. You're not at the cliff, but you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's far enough away. It's not an immediate problem. But there are there's more tree cover the further you get away from the estate. There's some forest. It's thicker over on the east side of the island, but there's some forest here, and bandits have revealed themselves as and your driver is kaput. So
I feel so bad for him that his last experience was us having a fight.
maybe he'll be okay, but
He's in peace.
he's out right now. So
He's in a better place.
The spirit tries to thank God.
that was so awkward.
Take me now.
No one asked you.
I will say, pointing that you don't see a spirit yet.
Oh, good.
But he's definitely out for the count.
Okay.
And the carriage go fast now.
Wall's gonna make a scramble up to the front to see if he can grab the reins and get some control back.
Okay, now they are a little bit tangled up with
With the
limp
driver.
Can I help?
Can the
Because I had
driver's
the
name
same
be
idea.
blue?
Okay, I'm missing
They're
something.
tangled up in blue.
Oh yeah, okay, sure, yes,
We should have taken individual horses.
Monsieur Bleu. So I'm gonna just start with a hard choice. If you just kick him over the edge of the carriage, out of the carriage, it'll be very easy to grab. There's no roll to grab them away. If you want to grab the reins and not just shove him out, that's harder, because
Okay.
you have to like get them away from him, and he's like
Yeah.
got him in a death grip. And,
Yeah. He has an arrow in his chest.
Yeah.
I look over at him and I just ask him, "Do you wish to live?"
He doesn't answer you, but you know in your gut that he's not dead.
All right, grab the reins and try to keep him alive.
Okay, roll a die for me.
Do I have any?
Can I help him? Like, try to hold the driver still, or
If you hold on. If
that was my
you would
instinct.
like,
Mhm.
I'll have him roll with advantage, but you will also be implicated in a bad roll if that happens.
okay?
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
that was my idea as well, was to grab the reins. He
Yeah.
just said it first.
Okay,
So, yeah,
so
I
you
think we
want to
would
help
both
Like a
do it.
Wall
joint
do
action.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll
Alright.
have you roll with advantage. Roll both dice, and just roll high.
16 and 15.
Okay.
Dang.
Take the 16, I assume.
Sure.
Same result. So, yeah, you managed to get the reins loose without throwing Blue overboard,
Mm-hmm.
and you are. I think that's the most we can manage at this
Yeah.
point. We're not able to haul
That's a
up on
full
the
action.
horses yet.
Yeah.
But third, if you wanted to do something extra, I think that help thing is fine. I don't want to use up your
No,
whole
I just
action
wanted
on that.
I just wanted to help
Just start with that.
Mhm.
Okay.
slow the horses.
Sal, Lucky.
Well, I was looking through my stuff, and I don't really have anything that's going to help calm animals or anything. What I want to do
Could blow
is
wind in their face. That would probably calm them down.
Oh yeah, totally.
My
Can
dog
we-
loves that.
What
She
about
does
a
not.
what about a shield of air to prevent arrows?
I was thinking of that, but I think that I think we want to stop the carriage first.
Yeah.
After all, you're my arrow wall.
God damn it, Jason.
Well, in the star pattern, yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to swing down from the carriage and try and act like an anchor,
Oh,
Mm.
just
Like-
do
like
in the back
break.
of it.
like
Yeah.
a Fred Flintstone. And I'm just
Yeah.
going to try and brace and use the weight of my body
Hmm.
to kind of slow everything down.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's really cool.
This is definitely gonna be, like, big thing or a bad thing.
Sure.
Right? There's not gonna be a medium,
No,
like,
that's-
hard choice on this. But you are big and strong, so I feel like you should have better than 50-50 chance. So I'm gonna have you roll your die, and hard choice is gonna be success
Okay.
in this case, but fail and crit fail are the same, as far as I'm concerned right now.
13. So
Okay,
a success.
that's actually a full success. Great. Yeah, so you hop over. You're not fully able to overpower two
No,
horses.
of course not.
And especially because they were already going fast, but you do slow the carriage down without ripping the back of it off or breaking part of yourself or whatever you managed to. That's the Superman conundrum, right? Like
Yeah.
when he lifts a ship out of the ocean, like it would just break in half.
Yeah.
Like
Like, not made for that.
no.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you managed to sort of get one hand on top and one hand on the axle, and you're digging your heels in, and you have definitely made it safer. If anyone wants to leap off the carriage, you only have to you won't have to roll with disadvantage. You're not going that fast now.
I think I lost my white veil.
That's all bad.
Oh,
Might be able to go back and get it.
We'll see.
can I use this opportunity of us going a little slower? To instead of jumping off the carriage onto the ground, to kind of like run forward along the traces. And I'm going to use my bog knock with my blue poison
Ooh.
to hit the horses and have them fall asleep for an hour.
Oh. I'm open to trying, but that has to be delivered by a hand weapon.
I mean, it is a poisoned
I was
weapon.
but I guess my point is, like, if it was like a dart or something, I would say, yeah, great. This is a big white horse butt in front of you. Like, that's an easy target. I picture them as white
Actually,
horses. I
you
don't
know
know
what?
why.
Would be interesting here is rather than my tiger's claws, is to unwrap my
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
arumi
There you go.
and do kind of a like whip. So it does not hit them very hard, but it does
just
break the
graze
skin.
them and
Yeah.
deliver the poison.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh,
yeah. but I am gonna say this like sort of melee application is harder than if you just had like a dart or something. So I'm gonna have you roll with disadvantage.
Okay, well, this costs me AP.
Oh, okay. And it otherwise doesn't have a roll.
I mean, it's just like the poison. That's the poison. Cost me 1 AP to have the victim fall asleep for an hour.
Okay.
But
So this roll is not do they get poisoned, it's how fast do they get poisoned.
okay, cool.
That makes sense.
That's a 12 and a 16.
Nice.
Okay, so we take the 12, which is as much a success as the 16 would be. And I'm going to say by next round, they slow down. And then the round after that, they will, they're already stumbling a little. And it's going to be sleepy time. So all of you notice the horses are slowing down a lot. Sal, you have a much better grip. All of a sudden, they're not pulling so hard, and you're like, "Oh, well, I'm doing a really good job of slowing this carriage down." Because I don't think you can see what
they would think
Right.
that.
I don't think you can see what Lucky's doing, right? As you're like ducked down, like trying to like pull this thing to a halt. But I think everyone's had a turn, so I'm gonna make some more arrow attacks. And I'll just go around this way. Sal, that's a 7. Is a miss or hard choice?
Hard choice.
Hard
I think.
choice.
Yep.
Okay.
So do I get to offer you a hard choice?
Yeah. Normally we do the fast version where it's just like reduced damage.
Sure.
Do you have any like damage reduction or other stuff already?
Nope, we've never talked about anything like that. We've sort of been going about the wooden construction
Yeah.
at.
I actually am gonna have you get tagged with the arrow, but it just does 0 damage officially. But you have given them information of like that's a wooden construct.
Oh.
And so they may not target you, or that's their hard choice. Like they didn't get to do any damage, but they learned something.
Okay.
So the more you know.
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Joshi. Looking very dangerous up there, but I rolled a 6. You're retired for a little while. Not that I'm trying to roll high. Let's see. They also have a hard choice with you.
No, isn't it?
On the low end.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
It's
it's
the-
the
yeah.
It's just
lowest
barely.
and tough choice.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have it do 1 damage to you.
Okay.
But that also gives you the information that their arrows normally do 2. And I should say these are like longer arrows than you're used to. And as this, actually, I'm gonna just leave it at that because it grazed you. It didn't stick into you, so you just had you didn't get a good look at it as it went by.
You got a hero scar.
Yeah. Where do you want? Shoulder, thigh?
I think the thigh would be a good one that like very artistically cuts open
Yeah.
the side.
Yep.
A little bit of the pants and
Yeah.
it's very Action Jackson. Yeah, I
Mhm.
like it. Okay. Third, you were helping getting into the driver's seat, so you're exposed as well. Everyone's up and exposed. I had in my mind, I had pre-show done some like random stuff of like, I wonder what's gonna happen. Oh, this will make sense. I did get a 15 third.
Okay.
Ooh.
That's what I
So
get for saving this driver's life.
it is 2 damage for you.
Ouch.
And this one actually, like, I think it looks more shocking than it is, but it's like a full, yard of ash,
I don't think he's ever been shot before.
Yeah, it's
so
like-
this was very.
like through your arm right now,
Ouch.
right? So this is a first?
Yeah.
What an exciting day.
Oh,
Welcome
what a
to the club.
queen.
You've been initiated.
And I think it's still at that point where it hurts a little, but you're still in like adrenaline
Yeah.
/ shock.
Yeah.
So that's fun. But it does give everyone here the information. Good job. That these are exceptionally long arrows, and the arrowhead itself is like twice as big as what you'd expect.
Yeah.
These are either ballista or shot by giants.
Oh. Interesting that you should say giants. So
And
can we see them?
remember the giant's compass is owned by a half giant, well, half dwarf as well, but
Mm.
you know, there are giants in the region. Which,
Can we see them?
almost. Let me get to the last shot here for Wall. Miss. Full miss.
Can
do
I
you
have a
want to
cool
attempt-
moment of yeah? I'm gonna raise my gauntlet
Mhm.
and just ching, 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 ching.
Yeah, and yeah, you deflect it,
Yeah.
and it's gone. Your counterattack is for melee attacks.
Yeah, I have to be within range,
Yeah, okay.
so that doesn't.
And you've got reins, and
Yeah.
but yeah, I think you get
Yeah,
one hand up to block it, and maybe third's like, you didn't block mine.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
But it's actually like they are coming in from both sides of the road, and now you do see there are these like 9-foot, 10-foot tall, kind of chalky gray, a little like a D&D Goliath, if you want a reference point, but it's not strictly that.
What's this D&D you speak?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know her. But you can see 4 of them. It seems like there's probably more because you've traveled so far at this point, and you got
Mm.
shot way at the beginning,
Mm.
and you know there's probably some that are catching up. So depending on what you end up doing, but
Are they approaching with bows, or are they approaching with melee weapons?
they've kind of stepped around so that they could keep track of you, and are just like reloading more arrows.
Okay.
They're pulling arrows from quivers, and and these, when you say longbow, like
Mm.
this is as was postulated, they're not ballistas or anything. They are just enormous longbows.
Okay. Well, this sounds like a job for my new ability from the last time we got abilities. Gale.
Mm.
Oh, and she's not here today.
Gale's not here, man. You close your eyes and stir the air, shaping the winds around you. A gale forms, and you can spread across an area of any size and shape in your scene, as long as you can see its area of effect. Inside the area of effect, wind blows at ferocious speed, kicking up dust and sending small objects flying. Creatures inside can't see far away, only what's nearby.
Mm.
When you begin the spell, the gust knocks creatures to the ground and sends them tumbling backwards until they leave the area of effect. Creatures outside the gust cannot enter it unless they are larger than the area of effect.
Oh, so like the size of a building or something.
Right. I mean, like, in theory, I could just gale in this room and,
Right.
you know.
So is this just like centered around the cart? Is it centered around them? Is it like where are you putting this?
I want to have it kind of be like an alley effect of
Okay.
where we're, you know, what's approaching,
Ah,
the people who are
sure.
approaching us on the side who are aiming arrows at us so that they can't shoot
Sure.
in, and then back along the road,
Rush it down the road.
yeah, to where
Yeah.
we had other people shooting at us.
Yeah.
This is a big 3 AP.
Ooh. Okay, no die roll, I assume.
Mm.
Nope.
Not usually when you're spending that much AP.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, this wind rushes down at your gesture, and I think the cart now fully comes to a stop. You know, all of its forward momentum is taken over by that. Wall or third, I imagine one of you just throws the brake on so you don't go rolling backwards. And the horses finally just go nap time, and you know, do the horse
Mm.
loaf, you know, where they are on their like 4 legs,
Mhm.
kind of. Horses don't usually lay down. It looks very awkward, but they're still in their tethers. No,
Traces.
Reins.
traces. Traces is the word I wanted. Thank you. So they have a very awkward lie down, and they're gonna feel hungover in the morning. But it's also a little hard to see now. There's I think we said this was like an evergreen type forest, so there's a lot of like pine needles and underbrush and all kinds of stuff blowing around. But there definitely won't be any arrows coming from that direction. So who's next? And you all know that it's Sal that called the wind. So
Mm.
Okay. So So they hit like you hit down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Like back at the way you came.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm
And can we
protecting
see-
our flanks and down the road.
Yeah.
And it's a constant
Yeah.
gust.
Wait, so it's the sides of us and down the road.
Yeah. From where the people are like tracking and looking at us.
Oh,
the
maybe I'm not
arrows?
picturing this. Okay, so you're on kind of a long, straightish road, and the wind comes whipping down the hill.
So you said that that giants were approaching like from this
From
and then
behind.
from both sides.
Yeah, they're like stepping out of the trees and like using the trees as partial cover before the wind happened.
Okay.
And essentially behind you.
Okay. So this is kind of my path of wind.
Yeah.
So this is where they're pointing arrows at us. This is Sal. This is the cart, and then just kind of down that tunnel.
Okay. So not hitting the front of the cart at all, just like from you at the back of the cart, fully just.
I don't know that there's anything in front of us, so no, I don't think I'd have a reason to be doing
Okay.
that yet.
No, that's good. I had the image that it was like hitting the cart as well, but that doesn't make sense. So thank you. Okay. So Lucky, does that?
Yeah, I'm just so what can I see around the
So
front and sides then?
the front of the cart, the carriage.
Mm-hmm.
There. Let's roll a die. That's a good perception check kind of thing. Investigation.
13.
As far as you can tell, it looks pretty clear that they wanted to stop the carriage, but it looks like you have the full like tail end of like you could just run away if you wanted. But it doesn't look like anybody's coming from the front of the carriage at this point.
Okay, well in that case, third, this is gonna hurt.
What?
Break
I'm gonna
it and
break the arrow and
and
pull
yank
it
it out.
Thank you.
Let's roll quote unquote healing check.
Technically, she is a doctor.
True. Do you have a healing move or anything?
No,
Okay.
It's just her
A
class.
doctor
I
inflicting.
talked to the
Not-
dead.
Not
Doctor
that
and
kind of
dead.
doctor.
kind of doctor.
Jason, remember, all of them got knocked over as
Yes.
well.
But you can't really see them.
Right.
Right? Okay.
It's a 10.
Ooh, that's a tough choice.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna make me bleed out, aren't
Yep,
you?
tough choice.
Okay.
Just barely didn't
fine.
make a success there for you.
So either.
No, it's my first time, but may as well make it exciting.
All right. So I'm gonna say you got the back half of it snapped off, right? But it like the shaft is thicker than you realized.
Can we
And-
get a clean take on that?
Phrasing?
And
Just
Phrasing?
need a- just
please
need a-
slate and your agency.
It is an arrow shaft. But it
He's just
either
talking about Shaft.
either you're not able to pull that free, or you are and do a point of damage.
You need to not be stuck with a giant piece of wood. Like I said, this is gonna hurt.
Okay. Mark one more damage, please. Do we get? Is it hand to brace it and yank? Do we get a foot up there?
I think like as
Because you're probably standing over him as he's like in the driver's seat at this point.
yeah, like so I sit you up to break off the head of the arrow, and I'm like, holy shit, what did they use for these things? And I lay you back down and just like
What?
1 foot on your chest. And like you see this like massive flexing of the legs and just
Oh, he just screams in pain.
Yeah.
Like, and in the back of his mind is going, normally I would make some kind of lascivious joke about this, but ow!
Thank you for stepping on me.
at the internet.
You
of
said it,
things.
I didn't.
All right. Either Wall or third.
I need a moment.
Okay, Wall.
Do I see anyone within bull rush range, or are they too far?
It's obscured by the
Okay.
wind effect.
Okay.
There's like so much debris and stuff kind of spiraling down the road.
Okay.
You have a pretty good idea of where they are,
Mm,
and you could run and like let the wind carry you as
Mm.
well. But it's up to you how you want to handle that.
I am going to engage my shield and just stand next to third and just ready in action, just making sure third recovers and until
Okay.
we get our bearings.
All right, cool. So we've got the three of you kind of at the front of the carriage. Sal is standing at the back of the carriage. Sal, is this a thing you have to like channel and focus on, or is like you set it and forget it?
I don't know.
It's a
Is it the
sustained
card
effect,
thing?
right?
Yeah,
Like
it's a sustained effect.
okay.
As long as I want it to be. So I don't know if I have to really. It doesn't say really whether I have to concentrate on it or.
Okay, well, depending on what you want to do, if you want to do another sustained magical effect, maybe that'll be a conflict. But if
Okay.
you want to do other stuff, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
I don't. There may be a rule. I am trying to follow the rules of this game, folks. Just so you know, I have a reputation for not. I have followed the rules of this game to the best of my ability. I have not intentionally changed anything. Yet. And I don't intend to. I am trying my hardest this campaign to follow the rules as written. I am actually putting effort into that, and it hurts
You
me.
picked the wrong cast.
I know. It's all right. There's like 8 rules. It's pretty easy.
7 more than I can manage.
Yeah, well, I think the concentration rule is something like that, and
Okay.
my tablet's dead, so I don't know.
Cool.
It would say on the card, right?
No, there's like a general, like there are like
Oh.
rules about how magic works. And then it says, but do what you want in your world. Like the book is full of
Mhm.
like, here's how this should work, but it's a multiverse, so who knows? Like I love the
Yeah.
book. The book is so well written.
Looks like here's how it could go, but I'm also not your real mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Which is exactly the kind of book I wish I had written, but you know, here we are. All right, well, it's back to you all to make some choices.
All
Oh,
right.
let's get third in there. Yeah.
Well, I think third being injury is going to kind of like sink down into the cart to get some cover. Like, do you really think we can fight them?
I can.
I mean, yeah.
Sal.
Perfect. Perfect scene. Sal's a little. Sal
Sal's
would
some
be like in
reason to
shouting
change.
range because
Yeah.
they're behind the wagon from your point of view.
You sure they can't be reasoned with?
They literally just shot you.
Yes, I am very much aware of that.
And
But
the
there's-
driver.
But there's a lot of them with a lot of really big arrows and only 4 of us.
And one of me.
Oh, gods, I hope your ego doesn't get you killed, Wall.
I've died several times. It didn't take.
You might
Didn't you
wanna-
listen to my story in the carriage ride?
How could I not?
You might want to,
No.
put some pressure on that.
With what? Ugh. Oh, oh,
You've
you
got
veil
another
this
arm.
going. That would have been so perfect if you just had the veil. I'm
Here,
sure
you
he
can
has
use-
a spare shirt or something.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna give you my dupatta.
Thank you.
I'm not saying I feel guilty. I'm not apologizing.
You could just tie it around his arm.
All right.
Okay. Oh, this is a terrible idea. We're all gonna die.
I mean, they're all gonna die. Yes.
Uh-huh. All right, let's do this.
All right. So third, do you have an action you want to take or?
Not.
Do you have a plan? Shouts.
No, he does some crowd control. But they can't really see us.
Right, and you can't see them very like
Okay.
they're like kind of some shapes.
Mhm.
It says it's obscured or completely blocked.
There's not. You
You can't see into or out of the effect, right?
Creatures inside can't see far away, only what's nearby.
Yeah.
And they've all been knocked over. Creatures outside the gust cannot enter it unless they are larger than the area of effect.
Oh, okay.
So I suppose there
So-
isn't
How do we
anything
get through that?
stopping them from coming around the trees,
Right.
but they
Mhm.
can't come at us this
Yeah,
way. So
I think they're
it's
probably
actually a bad idea tactically.
trying to.
So
Well, I
we're
mean, you-
cornered in this carriage.
In this
is what you're
moment,
saying.
you've knocked them all over, and
Right.
you know that. But yeah, they will probably try to crawl into the trees to like get around the effect. But if you had tried to encompass all of the trees, it would have been a really diminished effect anyway. So, you know, you did pretty well, and you're protecting your group from arrows right now. But I think you all could probably see them better than they can see you right now. Like, I don't think they can really see you at all. So you could see them.
Well, the dust and the debris is blowing away from us
Yeah.
and into their faces.
Yeah.
So that
you
makes
could
sense.
see sort of indistinct shapes fall over, like start to like army crawl to the side of the road, that kind of stuff. But you could see 4 figures essentially in the road behind you.
Okay. Yes, we're all just gonna jump out and split up. Yes. I don't think Third would actually charge out of the cart first.
I
I
don't
think
think
once
so either,
everyone
yeah.
goes, I'll just be like,
I mean, I don't.
okay, I guess this is how I die.
This is.
Are you saying
that's
we
what's
should
happening.
run?
Well, our horses are asleep. I mean, if there's any time to run now, would be the time.
We can't run with the driver.
No.
Well, maybe Sal could, but there. I might be busy at the moment, but if we use the wind to our advantage and they split up, we could set up our own ambush. Well,
Blasted archers! Let me at them.
I mean, no one is.
We literally cannot stop you.
Cowards weapons. I hate archers.
Well, are you going in or?
Yeah. Wall's gonna raise his shield and run towards where the arrows are coming.
Yeah. Well, there are no arrows right now because they're not like knocked down and trying
Sure.
to get out of the wind. But yeah, you would sort of have to run in
Yeah.
with the wind at your back. At
Towards
least,
the
and-
general direction of death.
Okay. Great.
Right.
The light brigade.
We can get an attack in.
Okay.
Probably.
Once I get into range, I'm gonna use my first invoker ability,
Oh, what's
Ooh.
that?
which is declare. Once per scene, you may declare a reason for intervening in a matter and stealing your resolve. And it's based on my ideal, which we'll cover in a bit. The result is I can immediately make a successful basic attack on a foe, or there's some other options. I don't care about those. I immediately make a successful basic attack on a nearby foe. And as I get into range, I shout, "Hark me! You have spilt blood here in the most sacred of places, the Isle of Mourning. So if you're in such a hurry to meet death, then look upon me."
Okay. And that gives you a free attack?
Yep.
All right. Just say automatically.
I immediately make a successful attack
successful
on
attack.
a nearby foe.
Okay.
Just a regular basic hit.
Can that also be your inspiring?
I don't
that's
have that
interesting.
anymore.
Ah. So I'm gonna say Third probably thinks that's the coolest.
Now
fucking
that I'm a
thing he's ever
paladin,
heard.
I'm no longer inspired.
Yeah, these builds are a little different, but
Next level up.
yeah.
You'll get it
I'll
back.
take that back.
Okay. Yeah, you get in there and you know, one of the archers that was like trying to get out of the wind sees you coming and tries to defend himself. What do you do? 2 damage?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, is the weapon special? Does it give? Because my basic attack is 2.
You have your halberd.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a 3 damage
Yeah.
weapon. Okay. So, yeah, how do you take this guy out?
They don't see me coming. They need eyes for that.
Okay, so you just right across the face,
Mhm.
and yeah, this one collapses as you just slash him across the face and falls back. He even like tried to defend himself with his bow, you
Mhm.
know, and you just
Mhm.
slash right through it, twang, and yeah. Who's next?
I'm going to use Wall's epic level distraction,
Mm-hmm.
going around that side to come around the other
Okay.
and attack them from behind because, you know, like.
Okay. If you want to circle all the way around through the trees, we might need like an extra round of movement, I think, just because it's a little bit of a trick. So it's up to you what you want to do.
Okay. I was thinking like, because he's going straight forward, but
Yeah.
if I came in like and flanked a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Okay. When you said come around from behind, I
sorry,
thought
no,
you
I don't mean like
circle around them.
180, but
Yeah,
like
okay.
a flank. I'm not describing things well today. I'm
No,
so
that's
sorry.
okay. And,
Position for sneak attack.
right. So let's say
Which is hilarious because that's not how sneak attack works in this game.
no. If you're looking back down the road, Wall ran off to the right, let's say, and is also caught in the wind now, but that's fine because you're right where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And your target is nearby, so not as bad a problem. Do you want to head towards the right side of the road where Wall is, or the left side to take on the other opponent? There's
the
like
left side.
okay. Okay, let's do. I still want to do a movement roll just because you're gonna have to contend with the wind. You and the wind happen to agree on what direction you're going in. But let's make sure you don't sort of parasail in the wrong direction. You have a lot of flowy garments. That's Don't you have like scarves and stuff?
I just gave
Oh,
my
that's right.
Gopatha to bind his wound.
Okay.
11.
Oh, that's a success. Okay, so then you're welcome to make whatever attack you would like to make.
Okay, then I am going to use my Qatar
Okay.
to punch stab.
Yep.
At the nearest archer.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and roll that. They are aware of you. They're like trying to come up to their knees to fight you because they were sort of army crawling into the woods. Knees put them about head height with you, but let's see how it
All
goes.
the better to stab you with.
Yeah.
17.
Oh goodness. Yeah. Okay. What kind of damage does this do?
So, my Qatars do 2 damage.
Okay. So it's not immediately a kill. This one also pulls the bow up to block and actually does like shove your attack to the side a little bit. So instead of chest, it like plunges into their shoulder, and their left arm kind of goes limp, but they drop the bow and they pull a do you know what eskrima sticks are?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like a for those who don't, it's like a bamboo baton sort of, but for them it's like 3 feet long, and pulls one. Looks like it's got 2 in their belt, so it pulls the one with the good arm and is gonna engage when it's their turn. Sal third.
Sal's turn next.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was just thinking about a screama stick the size of a boken.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah.
I'm going to use a 1-point version of Navigate, which will let me. You navigate your party to one of the following areas when traveling in the wilderness, and what I want to do is I want to find ruins.
Okay.
So it says you find minor ruins like an abandoned keep or a withered statue, a place where we can. I want to find some place that is defensible.
Okay.
That if we need to like have a fighting retreat or someplace that we're like if there are more of them waves coming.
Okay.
That just know where that is.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have to spend anything or?
Yeah, it's a point.
Okay, but not a dice roll.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, you pick up on there is a little bit of a grotto deeper into the woods. There's no trail that leads directly to it, but you know where it is. And I think you're drawn to it because there's like a saltwater pool in the grotto.
Okay.
And there's also some like hand-worked stone as well, but there is something there that you could use for defense once you can see it up close.
Okay.
Am I supposed to give you more information than that, or like what?
It literally just says that I can find it.
Yeah.
And then it's up to you to decide what it is, I
Okay.
suppose.
Also, the names of all of our attackers.
Yeah.
No,
And they're weak.
Yeah.
they have given up their names
Ah.
to become warriors.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
Well,
how
the wall trick.
well, then I'm going to need the world building behind their sect.
It's how they got that extra hit point, as they give up their names. It's a real min-max build.
Okay. Third.
Okay. The ones that Lucky and Wall are fighting.
Wall's target is dead. Lucky is engaged
Are
in
there
combat.
others coming towards them?
Yeah, they each have one more near them.
Cool. I'm gonna stay towards the carts, but I'm going to use magic tricks.
Okay.
So the ones coming towards them will feel like something tapping them from behind.
Oh, okay.
So I want to see if that will distract them to get them to
That
turn
would be
around.
terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have to roll anything for that?
Well, it's a 0, so I guess it would be up to you to see if they're distracted
Yeah,
or
I'm gonna
not.
have you roll dice on that.
Okay.
Just because you're trying to get 2 targets with a really specific thing with all this wind blowing, you're like, notice this tapping.
What is this thing? All right. Oh, 17.
Oh my
Ooh.
goodness, that's a very notable tapping.
Yeah.
A rapping
Yes,
upon my giant shoulder.
yes. Yeah. So the like second combatant in both of those pairings are somewhat distracted, and
Okay.
they will have disadvantage to make their attacks.
Okay.
So
And then I guess I'll
Nice.
just kind of duck into the cart and try to stay down.
okay. I think that
For now.
brings me to my turn. So while the one that's left for you has
Mhm.
disadvantage,
Okay.
A 3 and a 20.
I saw that 20 and was like, oh,
Nice.
it's good to have disadvantage.
Nice.
We go from critical success to complete failure.
That's a full fail, which triggers my counterattack.
It sure does. Yeah. You have to roll for that one, right?
Yes. 11, a success.
Yeah. Okay.
Deals 3 damage for a basic
Oh,
attack.
yeah. Okay. That guy's dead.
Cool.
Yeah, and it was the sort of thing where you really, there was the glimmer of the 20, right?
Mhm.
Like this
For
person.
a moment, I saw death again.
Yeah, this person, dropped their bow, got to their feet, got both sticks out, and like engaged in a back and forth, right? You had a whole what?
I was just thinking of the scene in Indiana Jones.
Oh.
He did the whole biggest creeper thing and
Stab.
just stab.
I have the range on him.
Yeah. But there was. It's range
Yep.
only because your weapon is huge.
Mhm.
They're huge.
Yep.
They've got these like Boken Eskrima sticks.
They're just flourishing towards me.
Yeah, and you do, you
Yep.
defend and you
Yep.
counter, and then they, the wind is in their eyes,
Mhm.
and you manage to take advantage of them and
Nice.
skewer them with the pointy bit on the end of. I bet it has its own name, the pointy bit on the end of a halberd or pike.
The business end.
Yeah. The end that goes toward the enemy.
Yeah.
The pointy end.
Yeah.
Yes.
The blade.
Towards your buddy, not your body thought.
Okay. So.
Just imagine a glaive with the claymore sticker on it.
Yeah.
The thing that says this end towards enemy.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Okay, and Joshi, your injured one, I'm gonna have roll with normal roll, because that's not the one that's being tapped on the shoulder. Is an 18.
Ooh.
So that's 2 damage, unless you have something to defray that with.
No.
But the second one has to roll with disadvantage.
Mhm.
19 or 17. So that is 2 more damage,
Okay.
unfortunately. And I think it's the 2 of them working together, because your guy is the one who only has 1 working hand, right?
Mhm.
But then the friend comes in with the kind of flurry of blows, and the 2 of them are able to kind of push you back against a tree, and you just find yourself, struggling to manage the situation. Yeah. Okay. So you're at 4,
5.
5. Oof. Okay. That's a lot.
Yeah, taking some beating here.
Yeah. Sal, did you do a thing? Oh, no, it was still my turn. There is a moment where, I'm gonna choose randomly. It's you. The Third, how many times has Third seen or talked to Arjun?
I think he's only seen her once.
Okay.
The one time she actually showed herself, and he was
Yeah.
like, "Holy shit, she's real!" Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
So-
Ghosts are a thing.
so
but that particular ghost.
there's this kind of rushing spectral almost bolt that then resolves itself to Arjun looking panicked, and then but there's this whole moment of like, I went to the wrong person, like there's 2 more and a chanter, and then this like misty white bolt that is, it's like sort of an arrow, but it's just like a straight white line, pierces Arjun from behind, and they sort of shatter into black shadow fragments, and dissipate.
Shit.
So that's my round.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
also
deep.
that that bolt that
Mhm.
you saw, you watched it arc from the path that it was on to track where Arjun was,
Yikes.
Some
Okay.
magic missile.
basically. Some
Okay.
sort of magical projectile, if you will.
A power projectile.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, if it's our turn, I think I'll start this time.
A JFK bullet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So does he know what direction Arjun was indicating?
Yeah, because she came from, where the attack started, right? From like further down the road, and it's not totally surprising that there were probably a couple archers there that shot your driver, but the fact that they have a chanter is, that's some sort of
Yeah, that's
magic
serious.
user. I don't, I'm sure it's something you've heard of, right? Like, they do some kind of magic, whatever.
Okay.
But
So we don't see him yet, but we know they're down there.
right, because and they're obscured by this, wind
Because of
tunnel,
wind.
basically.
Okay. I guess I'll go be a distraction. So they're finally seeing what's happened to Arjun. It's worried. Sums up the courage to hop out of the carriage, and it concentrates for a moment, and he kind of like flickers, and then separates, and now there's 2 of him.
Yeah.
And they're identical.
Mirror
With their
image.
Splitting image.
Splitting
it's called.
image. That's what I said.
Legally distinct from
Splitting
mirror
image.
image.
Yeah.
Yes, very
Exactly similar yet legally distinct.
So they move completely in sync together and side by side. So if anything attacks him, you have to flip a coin, and like heads is you hit me, tails is you hit the duplicate.
I'll
so.
probably just use odd
if that
or even
happens.
on my
Yeah.
D6 there.
So I think he's just going to run towards that direction, kind of like making a zigzag,
Sure.
and call to the other Serpentine. And he's going to warn the others, like, there's at least 3 more over there, including a chanter. And he's basically just kind of run around and try to be like, look over this way.
Okay. All right.
So that
Wall
way they
is
can
just
switch
standing
over.
over 2 dead bodies. Like,
Well,
what's
then
the
I'll
problem?
pass by him. More over that way.
Yeah, so everybody gets this information. There's 3 more, including a chanter, further down the road. What do y'all want to do? Well, you're
Can Wall tell that it's a splitting image and that you're not twins?
I mean, not to
Yeah,
attach him.
I don't know if this is magic you'd be familiar with. I mean, maybe he has some way to copy himself.
He's twice as annoying now.
But they are moving in sync, so it's definitely not like 2 people, right?
Must have
Yeah.
gotten a lucky shot on my head.
His name is Third. Can he do another one?
Maybe you can't see it.
Oh, an invisible.
That's a different spell.
So Wall,
Is,
you can see Joshi
yeah.
across the way,
Okay.
outnumbered, literal back against a tree.
I was gonna, yeah.
Oh, do you want to go first?
Well, I mean, I would like to just attempt to fight back.
Yeah,
these 2 guys.
let's do that. Let's get yours in first.
So yeah, I'm gonna drop one of my Qatar to pull my Bognock,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to say that it is coated with paralyzing poison, which is a 3 AP poison.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Mama.
Paralyzed the victim collapses and is paralyzed for the next day.
Okay. Yeah. Was that the one I assume that was unhurt so
Yeah.
far? Yeah. Yeah. You slash through that. Roll a die. Let's see if you can get a second attack in this situation.
15.
Yeah. Why don't you take like a basic attack?
Okay. 5.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
That's a full
You
miss,
were
right?
doing so
I
well.
Mm.
We believed in you.
You were the
You were
chosen
the
one.
chosen. Uh-huh.
We were all rooting for
For
you.
Yeah.
All right.
You
So
were supposed
yeah.
to bring balance to my dice rolls, not leave them in ruin.
So that's the tiger claw thing that you did, right?
Yeah, so the tiger claw was
Yeah.
the poisoned weapon.
Yeah. So you rake that across the one who was uninjured. They just collapse. The other one who's fighting one-handed, managed to duck your, the backhanded version of that, and is starting to square off with you, and then like catches a glimpse of what's happening across the road, and turns to flee. So
Pain train.
I'm gonna use your miss as their opportunity to bolt, and they sort of run into the woods. They're also running with the wind at this point, so they're
Can I go next?
yeah.
Seeing that one flee, I'm going to let the gale drop. But the way that this happens is everything in the gale kind of coalesces into this freezing blast of wind
Oh,
that is going to hit that one who's fleeing for a point.
okay.
This is freeze.
How big of an attack is that? Like, does
It's
it hit the whole road? Is it
No,
like...
it's a single target.
Oh, okay.
Or it is any amount of creatures. Any nearby creature, swirl around nearby creature or object. Affected creatures feel a deep chill in their bones and are hit for 1 hit point.
Okay,
You
well,
can use
that
the
guy
spell
only
stop.
has 1 hit point.
I know.
So, okay.
But it was just like the way that the gale kind of like
Yeah,
falls
sure.
and then like condenses into this super cold blast of air.
Yeah. As soon as you drop the wind, you can see 3 more giants in the middle of the road. One of them has this like leather and bone wrapped, sort of almost like a doll shaped type thing,
Yep.
right? Some kind of focus that it was holding up in front of it, and it was clearly like breaking the wind. And leading the other 2 in a sort of V into it, and they all sort of stumble forward. When but the chanter was like using some kind of magical ability as they were like trying to hike into the wind to get to whatever was happening. They all stumble forward as this other one turns to leave, and you just ice blast that one. And the other 3 in the middle of the road are clearly visible to everyone. So, what do you want to do?
Is it not there? Is everyone gone?
I think Ball needs
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at this is my first time doing invoker stuff, so I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything.
Yeah, these 3 are at a bit of a longer range. So if it says nearby, that's not going to count. But if it says, I think, close is the next one, that's fine.
I'm going to look over at Lucky and just check, like, you got this? You need help?
No, I mean,
Okay.
Okay, then
they
I'm...
don't call me looking for nothing.
Choo choo, baby! Pain train!
All right. So you want to go charging down the road. Okay. So yeah, that'll be an action to get down there. Everyone's done a thing? Okay. The chanter gets a good view now of the 4 that are dead, and gestures, and the other 2, like, you see them start to move, and then the chanter's like leather and bone thing flashes a bright light, and I'm gonna have everybody roll a die. It's sort of a save versus flashbang.
Ooh,
no.
fail.
Me too. It's a
18.
Fail.
Oh my gosh.
It rolled at 15, then rolled back to a 5.
Oh,
Rude. That's
3
rude.
fails.
the taunt.
So your cat eyes pupils just like scrunch down, as like, it almost seems like you should be more sensitive to this, but it is this like lightning bright, thunderous kaboom, and
Is the earth shattering?
Here is my earth-shattering kaboom. This just enormous light and sound in the middle of the road. You can see your fellows. Everyone's like cringing away from that. Or well, you can all sort of characterize that how you want, but you can't see or hear anything right now. And the three of them turn to flee into the forest, up like off the right, so the east side of the forest. But you can sort of see. You could pursue if you want. But they're a pretty good distance away still.
It
You're
seems
also
like
half your hit
I'm,
points.
Like, really, really hurt.
Yeah. It'd be one thing maybe if all of you were able to chase after them, but they're going to be at least a round out of commission. So, what do you want to do?
No, I think I'm gonna look after my people.
Okay.
Especially since, Third put himself at risk to having already been injured.
Yeah.
To come warn us about the rest of them.
Yeah.
Oh, so are we stopping?
Yeah. We'll call the combat there. We also have to wrap soon, but
Okay.
let's go ahead and get
I
the.
feel like Third, once he recovers, kind of looks at Lucky and says, Arjun was the one who warned me. They shot her with some white magic missile thing. Sorry, I couldn't think of a better term.
That's all right.
And it's like she's shattered. Is she okay?
So Joshi, that sounds like some magics in the world have like a banishment type thing. To you, it sounds like like there are banishment circles or bolts or incantations or whatever. Whatever it was seems like a banishment thing. But that would just send her back to the Shadowlands. Like
Yeah.
she's
I mean,
in timeout.
She has to take a bus back.
Yeah.
She's gonna be really pissed off when she comes.
All right.
But
And
thank you.
when you have a minute, you'll be able to like do a reading and get a sense of like how long is she banished, like how good a banishment was it. But
Glad that's over with. Ow!
oh yeah, now you have time to think about it.
Yes, the adrenaline's starting to wear off.
Meanwhile,
Also, all the audience is going to experience pain as well.
was that a little loud?
A little loud.
Okay.
Sorry.
And we have a lady half hit points over here.
I mean, like those. I'm sure no one will notice those bruises for a bit.
Our Lady of the Half Health.
Mm.
I like that. So yeah, we'll have some things to deal with there. Your driver, if you take him the rest of the way into town, will have an opportunity to recover. And the horses are fine, everybody. The horses are fine.
They
They
just
just
having
took
a
a
nap.
very
Sleeping.
nice, it was just an hour-long nap
Yes.
where they could recover from the panic
Yeah.
and not injure themselves on their traces.
So we're all grateful for that. So thank you. That was a good move. Um,
So this is what people say when they mean they see stars.
Yeah. And that might actually be a good place to just roll credits. So that's our time. So thank you everyone for joining us for episode 4 of the Castoffs. My name is Jason. I am your host. I forget what this game called it. MC
Guide?
Thank you. I forget. I've multiple times have been reminded of this on camera.
Just say bosun.
Bosun, yes.
I mean, that's what you're.
I do like that. I have been your bosun. You can catch up on previous episodes at happyjacks.org/castoffs. You can follow us on. You can follow Happy Jacks RPG on Twitter and Twitch, and I think it's the same on YouTube as well. That's where all of our past episodes. It's easier to watch over there, or you can catch the podcast feed, which is also great. For me personally, you can follow me at It's Probably Okay, and I do some streaming myself on Wednesdays and Fridays, and you can find out information about that on my Twitter. Joe?
Hi everyone, I'm Joe, and you can follow me by walking at a brisk pace behind me or somewhere outside of my periphery. Or look below, somewhere with my name. There's some online thing. If you have internet, I think you can do a thing with it. Try it.
How are you watching this if you don't have internet? I want to hear from you. Have you summoned this
They're watching it from the past.
in the ether? but they still have to have a. Well, it could be downloaded as a
be.
yeah.
I mean,
From the future into the past, yeah.
Yeah. We actually had, or maybe still have, fans in remote Alaska who would download a whole bunch of our like advice podcast episodes, and then those exist in this remote station in Alaska somewhere, and that was how other people had heard about
Wow.
our shows.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
amazing.
So that actually is kind of cool to
That's
think about.
awesome.
But that was, as you were saying.
Yep, that's all I got.
Okay.
All right. Hey all, my name is Courtney. You can find me on Twitter at the Anime Goddess. Unfortunately, you will not find me here next week. I'm going to be LARPing elsewhere, murdering lots of people in the game, not in real life. And having fun. Yeah.
If I can interject, I don't think that we're here next week either, because that's the weekend of the con.
Oh.
Oh no,
Nice.
that's 2 weeks. Is that Labor Day weekend?
Strategicon
Yeah.
is in 2
That is in
weekends.
2
Oh,
yes.
okay. Never mind.
Ooh.
Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I
we'll I think we're only one down next week, so we will forge ahead. We will probably take a break for Strategicon, just so everybody
Well,
knows.
Kimmy said we're definitely taking a break. That's
Okay.
We are definitely taking a break for Strategicon,
Cool.
or I'm going to be streaming here by myself.
I'll be around.
on your channel, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the issue is that there's
I mean,
the
they're-
plan right now is to do a live show at
Oh, I hope
Strategicon
so.
on
Yeah.
Saturday night,
Okay.
which means that this setup won't.
Hmm.
This physical setup will be here, but they'll be using the channel.
Yo, also, Strategicon here in LA is super fun. They do it 3 times a year. The people who organize it care about health and safety,
Yeah.
and I don't think they can require indoor masks anymore because that's not the city code, but they encourage it. They wear masks. It's just, that's the culture around that convention. So,
In previous ones, they set out outdoor gaming areas in the courtyard. So I think that's
Yeah.
probably still an option.
yeah. So just be aware, it's a convention that gives a shit about that, and it's a convention of 2,500-ish people, so it's fairly manageable with that
Right.
in mind. So
And if you sign up for Kimmy's game for Starscape, because she's running that twice at Strategicon, she has indicated she's bringing 3 big HEPA filters that she
Oh.
is borrowing from an unnamed source.
and
And just will keep those running the whole time in that room. So there's also
Fantastic.
going to be a fairly safe room
yeah,
if you can get in there.
awesome. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to do a play test as well.
Cool.
We'll see.
Mm.
I was undecided whether to go, and I think I just decided right now.
A play test of what?
We'll see. Courtney, did you say everything you needed to say?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to jump all over you.
I'm good.
Okay, so next week, 3rd, will be
He'll-
recovering from this grievous shoulder wound.
Yes.
Um,
It's his first time getting shot and it was real bad, and maybe he just needs to nap for like
Yeah.
a day.
I love comparing that to Lucky's wounds, and this like
Who's
sort of
taking more damage than
this
me?
sort of man flu situation.
Yep.
It really
I'm
is.
very badly wounded.
like quietly coughing up blood into my handkerchief.
Yeah.
Speaking
I'll
of,
watch.
Hi, I am Pooja. I've been playing Lucky Joshi. You can find me on Twitter at LADC Girl. That's LADESI Girl. And pretty much all the other socials is Forgotten Saves. If you want to hear me play or run more TTRPGs, I am also on the 12-Sided Stories podcast. We are currently about halfway through our City of Mist campaign called The Foundlings, which I was the MC for. So fun, exciting, and a group of misfits trying to find their foster mom and getting, kind of caught up in other things.
the setting is they're like folklore misfits, right? Like they're sort of
So the way City of Mist works is that each of your characters you're playing is a rift, and there is a legend growing inside of you.
yeah, I love it.
Not in
It's-
the alien way necessarily.
Sounds painful.
It can be if you. I mean, that's what I would play.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, but it isn't always.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got some great characters.
Characters welcome.
They're so good. They're so good, and like really everything that they're doing and the relationships and everything, it just made me so happy. So
Hey everyone, I'm Nick. You can find me at Sungrowler on Twitter. You can also find me at Sungrowler on Instagram, but don't follow me there because I don't post anything there unless I somehow get cross-posted over from Facebook because, There's no such thing as privacy anymore.
I just DM Nick reels.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, he does, and it's great. And I don't tell him enough, but I love them, even though I don't really
He
reply.
finds like 8 in there when he goes to check once a month.
Actually, it is. It is fantastic. It's like I get all this content curated for me that I don't have to go find. Love it. So if you have a reel you want to send me, you can do it at Sungrowler. There I am. I might even see it.
Maybe.
All
one
right.
day.
All right. Well, thanks again, everyone, for joining us. That's it for this week. We will be back next week and then a break on Labor Day weekend. But if you're listening to this in the future, that doesn't matter to you. Be well, and we'll see you next time.
Did you do the call to the show?
I
and
did
everything?
not. Well, some things I forgot. Our wonderful moderators in our live chat, because your 2 options to watch the show are live or later. And the live show is moderated by, I think we have James
James
V.
V.
today. Thank you so much for being
Champion.
there. We can't do this without moderator, and you do a great job, so thank you. Yeah. Happy
If this is
Jackson.
your first episode and you want to catch
Wild.
up on another
Don't
episode,
think like this is your first episode. You've made mistakes.
But thank you for making it this far in your first episode.
Yeah. You can find all of our past shows at happyjacks.org/castoffs. And also, if you want to take a look at any of the other actual plays that we've done for all of the other systems and all of the other campaigns, you can find those at happyjacks.com/shows.
Happyjacks.org.
.org, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so close.
But no, thank you for covering that, because I did.
I thought I was off
I
book.
just brain farted on that. Okay, so this time for real. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Great.
Bye.
And thank you
Bye.
to all our Patreons.